Welcome to a new podcast with the two mics.
Is that it?
What do you mean, is that it?
Is that your intro to our podcast?
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
It lacks passion, it lacks power, it lacks energy. It should be, hello folks, welcome to a new podcast from the Two Mics.
Dear me.
Look at the light!
It's time to say a very good morning and welcome back to Mr. Mike Parry, who was only here last night. He's here now 4 nights a week, and I'm delighted to say he's here, looking very fit, very prim and proper, staring. What's wrong with your microphone?
I don't know, it's...
Why are you staring at it like that?
It's kind of...
Is it not aligned correctly with your mouth?
It's throwing trouble at me, this microphone, I can tell.
Right, well, if you can see the little V pointing downwards, you know, that's...
I know how a microphone works, Mike. I know how a microphone works, OK? Yeah, right. All I'm saying is... It's got a wobbly bracket.
Has it?
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than a wobbly bracket.
Do you mind if I just explain to our listeners why my voice might resonate a little improperly?
I'm surprised you've got a voice left after all the talking you've been doing for the last 24 hours.
Well, we'll come to that in a minute because you've been doing a bit yourself as well. Yeah. But no, I've got a dodgy bracket on my extending arm. And I hope it's going to hold out for the rest of the
perhaps
show.
We'll get the engineering department to have a look at it for you.
Yeah, that's right. The 24-hour-a-day engineering department.
Yeah, we'll give them a call on the bat phone.
Anyway, listen, good to be with you. The second of 4 programmes this week, OK? Yes. Tremendous response to the first one.
Yes.
Thank you very much to everybody out there. There will be another podcast in a few hours' time.
There will, yeah.
To follow yesterday's podcast, which was greeted very, very warmly.
It was indeed.
Or at least the bits that I did in it were.
Yeah, no, it was
how about the bits you did in it? How was that greeted?
Well, when I could get a word in, actually, I think people quite liked it. Yeah. I did get quite a lot of complaints.
Tell you about getting a word in, right? You're right, I did do a bit of stuff today, and I went over to see my old pal Jeremy Vine.
Yeah.
And there was a lady there, and it was about page 3.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not a huge banging the drum, keep page 3 and all that. I just believe in freedom.
Yeah.
And if there's a consensus of people like buying newspapers where there's a pretty girl without a top on page 3, they should be allowed to do it as far as I'm concerned.
Allowed to do it. They've just decided not to.
Exactly. And her view was that, we've got a huge petition up. And I said, how many people on the petition? She said 270,000.
Right.
I said about 4 people. I said about 4 million people actually read The Sun. So majority-wise, you're outvoted, you know. And why do we always cater to minorities in this country?
But that's the wrong argument, though, isn't it? Because in the end, they've decided to drop it. So it's not a question of somebody... I mean, pressure has been brought to bear, but they've decided in the end that they should let it go.
Well, have they? Nobody quite really knows. But no, my other point was...
Not, there isn't one this morning. In fact, the first 2 pages of The Sun this morning are actually
an advert.
Yeah.
Well, the whole... Hang on, I'll tell you what I saw. The whole of the front page of the Daily Telegraph the other day was an advert.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I didn't see that. No, I don't remember that.
I can't remember which day it was.
They do sometimes do that wraparound.
No. This was not a wraparound. This had the masthead on the top, and the whole of it was. I mean, it really is quite astonishing. But getting back to the page 3 thing, I said to this lady, and I'll be perfectly honest, I can't remember her name, but she's a stand-up comedian. And
I think she remembers your name.
When we met in the green room and she said hello and all that, you know, she pretended she didn't know me. She probably did. And she started
just feigning ignorance.
She started looking. This is quite interesting, actually. She started looking me up on her magic tablet, right? She had a tablet, a bit like
magic
you've got
tablet.
There. Well, you know, she's got like this magic machine.
Was she a witch?
No, you fool. You've got a tablet.
I have a magic tablet.
And
I have a magic tablet, yeah.
Yeah, that's that sort of thing.
In a minute, it's going to make me a bacon sandwich.
Well, that'd be excellent if it did. And so, you know, I said hello, you know, and I could see right away, you know, that she didn't like me because I was going to go and argue for page 3, and she was arguing against it, you know, in a studio. And it was very civilised. But anyway, the point is, she said, after about 2 or 3 minutes, she said, I see you've had dilated cardiomyopathy.
Oh, why?
I said, well, I've still got it, actually. Why? She said, there's a letter here from your doctor. I said, what are you looking at? She was looking at my Wikipedia entry.
Why is there a Wikipedia letter from your doctor?
I've no idea. There's a letter from my doctor, apparently, explaining my condition, included in my Wikipedia entry.
There's a lot of things actually included in your Wikipedia entry. Which might have puzzled her quite a bit.
She pointed out that according to my Wikipedia entry, I'm 100 years of age.
Yeah, that's right. It says you were born in 1914.
But anyway,
it also says Mike Parry is a British journalist, radio presenter, and male erotic filmmaker known by the name The Parry Piston.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it?
I think you might want to check the Wikipedia page and see whether you can get it changed back to what it was.
Well, I've never even looked at it. I swear to you, I've never even looked at it. I've never read it, and it doesn't matter. But anyway, point of my story is, we had a lively lively debate in a studio about page 3 and all that. She wouldn't have it. I said it's all about freedom.
It says where you live on here, you know.
It
says where you live.
What, my exact address?
Well, not exact address, but it says the name of the building.
Really?
Yeah. I think you ought to check this out. You might be, you might not want people to know that.
Well, this lady actually said that she's such a protester about female issues and sorry, not female issues, feminist issues and all that. She often gets death threats and often has to leave her house for 2 or 3 days at a time. Yeah, right. Because people get very threatening and all that kind of stuff. But what I was going to say was, I pointed out to this young lady and to my old pal Jeremy that. Don't you find David Beckham with his legs spread akimbo and a tight pair of underpants on just as offensive as any young lady on page 3 without her top on? I certainly do. I wince at those David Beckham adverts, don't you?
Well, not particularly, no.
I do, because to me they are erotica personified, hopefully. Sorry, the advertiser's hoping... not hopefully. The advertiser's hoping to attract women who think...
women do like seeing pictures of David Beckham.
No, that's what I'm saying. Who think their men will turn out to be love gods if they go and buy 6 pairs of underpants like the ones that David Beckham's wearing. Right. Well, I find that far more offensive than
I think
a young lady.
It's more of a hope over experience thing, really, isn't it?
I suppose so. And also, I pointed out that people like Linda Lusardi, who started on page 3, went on to become an Emmerdale actress, and Katie Price, obviously Jordan, went on to have a huge career, and others like Kathy Lloyd and people like that, Melinda Messenger. Yeah. These girls all had careers which started there. I really don't see the problem. And I don't want to be accused of being a dirty old man who gets titillated by page 3 pictures. That's not the case at all. I think they're very artistically done. They are, in fact, art for the working classes. I mean, the upper classes... The upper classes...
See, that is a terribly condescending thing to say. The other condescending thing about page 3 is that they're assuming that all men wish to look at a picture of a woman who's half naked, when they may not want to. You know, not every single man wants to see that in the paper. As I said to Sandy yesterday, the other problem with having a paper like that is that if you've got kids in the house, you don't want that paper in the house.
Well, don't buy it. Don't buy it then.
Well, exactly. But I don't know why you're arguing about this. No. The Sun have decided not to run page 3 anymore. Yeah. Nobody stopped them from doing it.
Yeah, we don't know that.
They could have kept it going if they wanted to.
Teased about it and all that. But the other thing...
there's nothing in the paper this morning.
The other thing I was going to say is the upper classes, right?
Who are they?
Well, the moneyed classes in this country, the wealthy, the top 1%.
People like you.
Well, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking.
You're one of the top 1%.
People who have.
You're wealthy.
People who have cultural.
You're wealthy.
That's irrelevant.
Why is it irrelevant?
People who have cultural aspirations.
Do you have cultural aspirations? You're a snob.
No, I don't. No, I don't. Go along to places like the Victoria and Albert Museum and stare at sculptures
Sometimes the sculptures there as well.
That's right. Sculptures of naked women's breasts.
Right.
Right?
Well, that's not the same as a photograph.
Of course it is.
How is it?
It's their version of page 3.
Rubbish.
The Victoria and Albert Museum staring at, and the nakedness is even more, as far as they're concerned, there's even more nakedness in a 3D image, which is what a sculpture is, than a 2D image, which is a photograph.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's more nakedness in the Victoria and Albert Museum than there is in page 3 of a tabloid newspaper.
Do you have a problem with that?
Well, I'm just saying, you can't have goose for the... What is it called? Can't have...
I don't know.
It's something like butter for the goose.
What's good for the goose?
Grease for the... That's it. That's the one. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying.
So you don't want to ban sculpture or anything, do you?
Sorry?
You don't want to ban sculpture?
No, I just don't want hypocrites to say, well, don't worry, sculptures are all right because only rich people look at them, but page 3 pictures are not all right because only the poor people look at them.
Well, it's actually free to get into the Victoria and Albert Museum, whereas you have to pay to buy a copy of The Sun. So what does that tell you?
Well, not many poor people go to the Victoria and Albert Museum.
Well, why not? It's free.
Yeah, but a lot
are you saying they're not capable of appreciating art? Is that what you're saying?
No, a lot of poor people...
Have you ever been to the Victoria and Albert Museum?
No. What are you laughing at? Why are you laughing?
Because you're talking about something you don't know about.
No. What I'm saying
Why don't you go and have a look at it?
What I'm saying is a lot of poor people don't go to the Victoria and Albert Museum.
Why not?
Because they can't afford to travel to London because the very expensive
what about the poor people that live in
train fares in this country?
In subsidised housing in Kensington and Chelsea. They could walk there.
Well, they could, but then it would be a very expensive day out.
Why?
Well, to have lunch anywhere in that part of the world is extremely expensive.
You don't have to have lunch, darling. You could bring a sandwich, couldn't you?
Well, make up your own butties and go to the V&A.
Yeah, why not?
The V&A.
You go and walk in the park
and sit in the hallway and eat your corned beef butties.
This is why people like you who like to perpetuate class warfare will try and make out that somehow, some things are only available to those with loads of money. The Victoria and Albert Museum is free. You can go to Hyde Park for nothing.
I don't think the V&A is free anymore.
It is free. I was there just the other week. I took my kids there.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm very sure.
Okay.
All museums are free in this country.
What
That's
happened
the
when your
point.
children saw these naked busts, these naked sculptures?
They were sniggering like little boys do.
There you go. That's
wrong?
exactly the
What do you
point
mean,
I'm
there you go?
making.
Why?
Well, I mean, you just said, you shouldn't take a copy of a tabloid newspaper into your house if it's got a page
That's
3
not- I said
naked
if
girl.
there's a naked girl.
I'm
No,
saying,
I didn't say you should.
on the
No,
same
you're wrong.
principle, you shouldn't take your children to places where there are naked sculptures.
Why not?
Well, because it's not good for them.
Why is it not good for them?
Because it's a shock. It's a shock to their tiny brains,
No,
to
they
their
weren't shocked.
young brains,
No,
their
they weren't-
immature brains.
They weren't shocked at all. Absolute rubbish. Once again, Porky's gone way off the scale here.
I don't think so.
And we're supposed to be talking about football. We'll talk about Bournemouth when we come back. 'Cause
Right,
I want to
let's
find
do
out
that.
about you jumping off
Let's
a
do
pier,
that.
because this I want to see. We are the two mics. This is TalkSport.
You say you will if you could, but you can't. I love you madly. Let my imagination run away with you gladly. Brand new angle, highly commendable. Seaside rendezvous.
This is TalkSport Extra Time. We are the two mics. There will be a podcast coming out. Porky
this
is
song?
here. Do you recognise the singer? You should recognise the singer with your keen ear for music.
Hang on.
And at the peak of the season with that
Sounds something like Bette Midler. What are you laughing at? No,
From Sex.
that's the sort of song it is.
It's nothing like Bette Midler. It's a man singing that.
Well, it's theatrical, isn't it? Musical.
Well, it could be described as slightly theatrical, yeah. Surely you recognise the singer.
I don't. Who is it?
Freddie Mercury.
It's who?
Freddie Mercury.
Well, that's remarkable, that. Well, that's a very strange record.
No, they won't be on their greatest hits, which is all you've got, right?
I was going to say, who made that? That's not Queen.
Seaside Rendezvous by Queen.
That's not Queen. That's one of those That's one of those. You know, he does a load of records with people like that Spanish lady, the big Spanish lady.
The big Spanish lady?
Yeah.
Oh, Jennifer Lopez?
No, he put on a dinner jacket, didn't he, and sung, Barcelona, 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 Barcelona.
Was it called Barcelona?
Sorry?
Was it called
I think it was
Barcelona?
called Barcelona, yeah, that's right, yeah. But I can't remember her
Who's the
name.
big Spanish lady?
Oh, she's one of the world's most famous opera singers.
Oh, really?
And he did a duet with her. It got to #1 in the charts.
Did it?
And so I think that's what one of those was. Because he did duets with other people as well,
I'm told
didn't
it was
he?
Montserrat Cabal.
Who?
Montserrat Cabal.
That was the name of the lady?
Apparently.
Yeah, well, there you go. You see, I told you, see?
Right.
And it gets to #1. You didn't know anything about it.
No, well, maybe it was when I wasn't here.
Nah, you don't have much cultural input, Mike. Anyway, listen, getting to Bournemouth, right? Talking
Well,
about
when
cultural input.
it was recorded from when Barcelona got the Olympics, right? What year was that?
Barcelona,
Wouldn't that have
92.
been- Yeah, they had the Olympics were in 92, but they must have got the Olympics in like 88 or something, 87. I would have been in America, so I wouldn't have ever heard that song.
Oh, you're telling me that Freddie Mercury had no reach into America?
Well, not in a song about Barcelona, no.
The Queen were one of the big hits in America. Lots of groups couldn't make it in America. Oasis struggled like mad in America. Robbie Williams has struggled like mad in America,
Yeah.
okay? People do struggle like mad
They
in
do.
America. But some British groups, like, for instance...
But some songs get released on one side of the Atlantic and not the other.
Barcelona, Barcelona, Barcelona. I like
I don't
that song,
think
actually.
that doesn't sound like... Anyway, Seaside Rendezvous, because,
Yeah.
of course, Bournemouth is down by the sea.
Exactly, that's the
Are you
connection.
sure they've got a pier?
Have they got a pier? I've walked that pier 100 times.
Really? Have you never
100
thought of throwing
times.
yourself off?
Well, that's what I'm thinking of doing. Now, let me explain what's going on here, right? Liverpool were drawn against Bournemouth,
Yes.
Bournemouth in the third round of the FA Cup.
In the FA Cup, yes.
I never had a doubt that Liverpool would get through. Not because I've obviously... I
Some
don't know-
people did, didn't they?
Yeah, some people did. Some said it'd be the giant killing and all that. But the point I made was that although Bournemouth are top of the Championship, their sustainability is, in my view, very flaky because they're such a small club. Now, I know they've got very wealthy owners
They have,
now,
yeah.
and you know, obviously that helps a great deal. But no owner in the world with limitless amounts of money is going to pump it into Bournemouth Football Club because it has no future. Bournemouth can never be a competitive club in the Premier League.
Yes.
So, for instance, when Nottingham Forest came up from the depths
Well,
of
I suppose that's arguable, isn't it?
of the second tier of English football, and won the Premiership, won the title in the first, and won the European Cup twice.
Yeah.
They're a club of that size.
Yeah.
Bournemouth are a club of minimal size in real football terms.
In terms of the number of fans, or what?
In terms of the number of fans they can attract, which is the main thing, in terms of the size of their ground,
Yeah.
in terms of their history and their ability to handle big-time football,
Yeah.
they don't have any experience of it whatsoever. You know what I mean?
And they lost last night to Leeds.
Well, I was about
Bit of
to
a
say.
shock, that.
I was about to say
Shock result.
after the Liverpool.
I'm sure that was the FA Cup, wasn't it? The League Cup, it was the Capital One Cup.
No, wasn't it? It was Capital One Cup. It was Capital One Cup. Definitely Capital One Cup. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
And so all I said it won't happen because, you know, Liverpool are such a giant club, 5 times European champions and all that. Then I got a load of abuse from Bournemouth fans. Well, why can't it happen? And I explained all these reasons. Then I start getting ultra abuse from Bournemouth fans saying you're belittling our club, you're putting us down, you're a football snob.
Fans are so touchy, aren't they?
Oh, it's very touchy indeed.
I mean,
You're
it's
a
like
football...
tonight, this ridiculous row about, you know, Liverpool being the best team. They should have won the game and therefore, you know, having a terrible sort of time
Sure,
of it.
sure.
I mean, Liverpool fans, I would have thought, would be quite happy with a 1-1 draw with Chelsea.
Yeah, well, I'd have thought so. Well, you wouldn't be quite happy, would you? Because you've got to go to Chelsea and win. Because as Jose said after the game, it's a 1-game tie now, not 2-game tie, 1-game tie. But anyway, get back to the Bournemouth thing. Anyway, this went to a crescendo when Bournemouth sustained their form in the Championship, you know, and everybody's telling me, you know, you got it all wrong, Porky, and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you're not saying they're not going to come up, are you?
Well,
Is that your bet or something?
No, what I said was, I think they'll struggle now in the second half of the season to sustain their form in the first half of the season. And they may still get promoted, but they certainly won't be champions of the Championship. That's what I'm saying, okay?
And they're now slipping slightly. They're still at the top.
Well, they've lost 2 of the last 3 games.
Yeah.
So they've dropped 6 points out of 9 in the last 3 games.
Right.
They're still top by 1 point. They lost to Leeds last night.
Yeah.
They lost at home to
Well,
Norwich.
they played one more game than some of the teams beneath them as well.
Have they? I didn't know that. Two games
Well,
ago.
you do the research before you come in, don't you?
Of course I do the research.
Well, did you not look at the table?
I just didn't want to be harsh towards Bournemouth and
Okay.
say, look,
Well, I'll help you out with some facts
this,
and figures,
this.
shall I?
I don't need facts and figures.
I'll give you some facts and
I've got them
figures.
all at my fingertips.
Have you?
Here, don't you worry about that.
All right, well,
pal.
who's second then?
Who's second?
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean who's second?
Who's second in the table?
Well, I'll tell you who's been second for a lot of the season. Derby.
Yeah.
Derby have been second.
They're fourth.
Right, they're fourth. Of course they are,
Who
yeah.
do you think second then?
Who do I think is second?
Middlesbrough second.
Middlesbrough second, yes, of course.
But they've
Middlesbrough
also
second.
played 27 games.
Right, okay,
But
yeah.
beneath Bournemouth
Yeah,
and Middlesbrough
yeah.
by just 1 point is Ipswich.
Ipswich, you
Derby
see.
are only 3 points behind
Yeah.
Bournemouth, but they've got a game in hand.
Well,
as well.
exactly. This is
And
what
guess
I'm-
who's fifth?
Fifth, yeah, go on.
Guess who's fifth?
Yeah,
You never
yeah.
guess.
I don't need to guess because...
You don't know.
No, it's
Brentford.
Not, it's not. I don't know. Brentford.
Brentford.
That's right. Of course, it
My
is, yeah.
team.
Yeah. Your team. Yeah. What a joke.
Well, I remember going to Brentford with you for that Capital One Cup game, and Brentford beat Everton.
Brentford did beat Everton.
You were beside yourself with grief.
You weren't allowed into the boardroom because you looked like such a
I was.
a slob. No,
I
you
was
weren't.
later. Greg
No,
Dyke
you weren't.
invited me into the boardroom.
No.
Yeah, he did.
That was
It's just that guy from Everton that was your mate because you made me dress up like a football hooligan.
That was Mr. Eldstone, the chief exec.
Hmm.
Yes, Bournemouth have played 27, Middlesbrough have played 27, Ipswich have only played 26, as of
I've
Derby
just
and
told you all this.
Brentford and Watford and Norwich.
Anyway, tell us more about the
So anyway-
jumping off the pier scenario. Have you made some kind of
anyway.
promise then?
I started getting a load of abuse again over the weekend,
Yeah.
okay, from Bournemouth fans.
Yeah.
Not horrible, nasty abuse, not bad language and all that, but, hey, Parker, you know, why are you such a dope and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so all I said was, look, I'm sorry if I've upset you Bournemouth fans. I don't wish to. I spend time in Bournemouth. My family live there,
Yeah.
Camford Cliffs, you know, very nice area of Bournemouth and all that kind of stuff.
Don't tell them where your
And,
family lives. Everybody
and-
already knows where you live. now.
And I go sometimes down to the front. I like it a lot. There's a couple of bars there overlooking the...
John says maybe
seaside.
Corky could be a mascot for Bournemouth, seeing he loves them so much. Think of the abuse he would get. You could dress up as a...
And-
What is that? Have they got a mascot at Bournemouth?
Yeah, well, they're called the Cherries, aren't they?
So have they got a man dressed as a cherry?
I think so.
Have they?
I think so.
All right.
So anyway, all I said was, if Bournemouth get promoted, so I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I'm not saying if they become champions,
Yeah.
which they won't, I'm
Right.
sure. I said if they get promoted,
Right.
because I feel they could even fall out of the promotion
Really?
positions. Yes,
Blimey.
I will jump off the end of Bournemouth Pier dressed as a duck. And I
You
will
have
have
to get permission to do that, probably.
I think he probably will have to, yeah. And I will have a winged costume on and try and take flight.
Right.
So
well, that is a very bold statement to make.
It's bold, but I'm going to stick to it.
Because, I mean, you haven't just said they're not going to be top. You basically said that they're not going to be promoted at all, which I think they are.
Well, OK, I'll take your word for that, Mike, but I still think there's a chance that they could just go through collapso in the second half of the season.
Well, I mean, you've been right before about these things.
Yes.
On this occasion, however, the only thing I would ask you to do is to make sure that when you do, if it comes to it and you have to jump off the end of Bournemouth Pier dressed as a duck, that you will make sure that somebody records it for posterity.
Oh, definitely. Definitely, and we'll put it on YouTube TV. We'll put it on the Two Mikes TV on YouTube, you know what I mean? Which I hope people are catching up on because...
there's loads of things there. There's loads of bits and pieces there. In fact, the Cinnamon Challenge is going to be on there pretty soon.
Is that right?
As soon as we can figure out how to do it. Yes, it's all going to be done. The other thing I have to talk to you about is that I got a call from Hawksbee and Jacobs yesterday morning.
Now, what was this all about?
Because of your activity regarding Stars in Their Eyes, your ridiculous idea that you launched on me last night that we're going to appear in this TV show as ZZ Top.
Well, I think that's a brilliant idea.
And
I spoke to Paul, who has an influence on the show.
Yeah.
He thought it was a brilliant idea. I spoke to Andy, who thought it was a brilliant idea. So you're the only one who doesn't think it's a brilliant idea.
That was before they heard you singing, because coming up we're going to be playing you a little bit. We'll do it after the news.
Yeah.
We'll play your actual performance of ZZ Top song.
Well, I hope we will. I do honestly, I mean, I understand it was played out on the Hawksbee and Jacobs show today. I understand you were on it.
Yeah.
I couldn't be listening because I was doing other things
you were
at
so
the time.
busy talking
I'm
your
afraid
mouth
so.
off to various other media
Oh, I
outlets.
had to do a load of interviews today about Deirdre in
I know.
Coronation Street.
Yeah, I know.
You probably saw me
Well,
on
you were on
Sky.
Sky this morning.
Saw me on
I'll
Sky
tell you the
News.
funniest thing about that, actually, as we were leaving this morning at about 6 o'clock, they put you up for the first time.
Yes.
When Sky had come in last night to film you, and they captioned you as a TV critic.
There you go, TV critic, you see. Well,
So
you know.
they've obviously, but then they changed it later, so it's
Yeah.
obviously a mistake. But they've obviously been listening to Porky Vision,
Yeah.
and they know that you're a man of great knowledge when it comes to television.
Right, they describe me as TV critic.
Yeah.
I'm described as a sports pundit.
Yeah.
I'm also described as an expert on current affairs when it comes to political
well, Radio
issues.
4 had you on as an expert on obesity.
They did.
Which was
They did.
the most ridiculous
They did.
of all.
They sent a radio car to my house.
Did they?
And you know, in the old days, these radio cars.
Oh,
were
the
black
thing you go and
taxis.
sit in like a like a van.
Yeah, they
I
were
used to
black-
do that at the Express,
That's
the Radio 5 Live one.
That's right. Yeah, and they used to be like old black taxis with a wind-up area on the roof. This thing that turned up, I'm not joking. It was like Star Wars.
Yeah, it's like a mobile studio.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was, and you get in the back there and sit there. You know, it's got everything. It's got decks and mixing decks and everything. And
Mixing decks?
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. You know, it's quite amazing. And we did that. But no, it was a busy old day because Deirdre, me, acknowledged expert, okay?
Of Coronation Street.
Yeah. The Page 3 Girls situation, me, acknowledged expert, okay?
Right.
And, of course, the show with you involving the suggestion that we should do ZZ Top, I'm an acknowledged expert again
You are.
on the singing prowess.
I've got
of
so
people.
many now.
I mean,
I've got so many-
where will it all end?
Yeah, well, it'll all
Where
end.
will it all end?
It
That's
will
what
all
I say
end.
to myself.
It will all end on Thursday when we give you another quiz.
Oh, yeah?
Which you will be proved to be not an expert.
And what's the quiz
anything
on
at
this
all.
week?
The cliff on it's on cliffs this week.
Don't be ridiculous.
It is cliffs. You're an expert on cliffs. You've fallen down one, haven't you?
I'd have fallen down when I've told you the story, and you know, you mock it.
You're going to love the cliff quiz. It's
Okay.
great.
Well, I'm sure.
Absolutely brilliant.
I'm sure I will. I'm sure there won't be a problem with that at all.
Now, look into the light for a moment because
Okay.
we have run out of time. But coming up, we're going to hear Porky's rendition of Legs by ZZ Top. This is
you
Top Sport.
lucky people.
It's got quite a long intro.
Well, I think, OK, Phil, we'll talk over this then.
You don't want to
I can
crash
see,
it, though, like a
I can
bad
see Mike
DJ.
walking through those smoky doors with that flying V. Incredibly long intros. You're actually going to sing anytime soon. In your own time.
Whisper it.
She's got legs, and she knows how to use them. She never begs. She knows how to choose them. She's holding legs, wondering how to feel them.
Oh,
Would
dear.
you get
It's going quite well until then.
behind them?
Oh dear, it's
If
gone
you
now.
It's going to be musical theatre.
It's gone a bit short and dash.
Yeah.
She's my baby, and yeah, it's alright.
Oh dear.
Auto-tune. I need Andy Goldstein's auto-tune on that. That'll do.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. So,
Dear me.
Next.
yeah, press the buttons on your handsets now, audience.
The only image I had in the back of my head, I thought, well, if we overdo it, we could have Matt Holland as a terrified-looking drummer sitting behind him like he was at the Christmas party when he launched into Maggie May. You know.
Oh, dear. So, I mean, points there. I thought Ian Danter would be giving him a call and letting him front the band. But then occasionally it's the long,
it's a bit
powerful
unlucky.
notes he struggled with, I think, Mike.
Well, I think you'd be certainly overworking the auto-tune on the show if you had him on there. But I mean, you can't stop his enthusiasm, is the
No,
thing.
it's
And
true.
He won't give up. I mean, he'll probably turn up at the door of whoever produces the show.
Yeah.
That'll be his next thing. If you turn him down and say, look, I'm sorry, I don't think you're really good enough. He'll just keep going.
What are you saying all this for? What are you saying all this for? My absence.
I was being asked basically
See,
for my view
that's
on what you were
disgraceful.
doing.
Like you come on in my absence, start ripping into me. Whose initiative was it to get that idea of going?
Well, hang on, it's not a question of whose initiative it
Yeah.
was. You volunteered me to join you in this ridiculous escapade to be on Stars in Their Eyes, which, one, I don't
Can I
want to be
tell
on.
you?
Right? One, I don't want to be on it. Two, I don't want to be on it
Can I
dressed
tell
as
you?
somebody from ZZ Top. Three, I don't want to pretend that I'm trying to imitate somebody. Most of the people who go on there are imitating their favourite star.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And they're doing it because they want a recording contract.
Haven't you seen all the tweets that have come out today? Images of you and I as ZZ Top.
I have seen them.
And it matches and suits perfectly. Can I tell you something?
Yeah, go on.
Tell you something, Mr. Graham. There are a million people out there
Yeah.
who, if invited to get involved in a showbiz duo with me,
Yeah.
right, just
Yeah.
in the same studio, standing
Yeah.
alongside me,
Yeah.
singing,
Yeah.
would cut their right arms off
Right.
and their left legs.
Well, they wouldn't be much good playing
right,
ZZ Top
right,
lookalikes
right.
then, would they?
You know,
Wouldn't be able to spin the guitars
just
around.
to join me,
Well,
okay?
maybe you should find one of them to do it. I did say later, and you may hear this later on, to Paul and Andy, that, you know, obviously if he goes to the producers of this show and they want you and me to go on, then obviously I'll consider it. But, you know, I'm not going to be, you know, frog marched into a TV studio by you, made up
Unbelievable.
to look like a rabbi, which is what I
Unbelievable.
look like on some of these pictures.
Do you know what?
And then forced into, you know, making a complete idiot of myself.
That is like some young lad being told, "Here, son, we want to sign you for Manchester United," and the young lad saying, "Well, nobody's consulted me. I'm
No.
you know, I'm going to."
It's nothing like being signed for Manchester
I'm
United.
going to throw a huff and walk out.
No, it's like
You know,
somebody saying that we've signed you up to be the mascot of the club and you're going to dress as a chicken for the rest of the season.
I don't
That's
think
what
so.
it's like.
I don't think so. By the way, I'm getting distracted during this show because on our internal,
the tennis is on, yeah.
internal viewing mechanisms, you know who's playing, don't you?
Yes, I don't know who's playing. It's not Andy Murray, though.
Maria Sharapova.
Oh, is she? All right. Is she in the
Yes.
pink dress?
She's in the red dress.
Oh, she just hit one into the
Who's
net.
that lady in the red dress?
Yeah.
She's got pink shoes. And it's very distracting because she's such an elegant lady.
She is. She's
6'1" tall.
Why don't you give the score? This is Talk Sport. 6-1 up in the first set.
Yeah.
And 3-1 down in the second set.
Is that right?
Yeah, so
I
she's
can't
one
see
set
from
up.
here, actually. I never wear my glasses in this studio because I can't see with them. I have to take them off so I can read the print properly.
Yeah.
But that's
So I'm
that
sorry.
doesn't matter.
Maybe we should change the internal viewing monitor.
Yes,
so
that's
that,
right.
So
yeah,
that it's not directly
Yeah,
opposite
yeah.
you, because obviously that is
Anyway,
distracting you.
anyway, I think you're being very
Anyway,
small-minded about.
I didn't get the impression that Hawksby and Jacobs were in any way going to move this on anywhere, judging by their reaction.
Well, that's
to
because
your
you
singing.
showed absolutely no enthusiasm for
Not
it.
true.
And I think they're bursting to get back to the producers at Stars in Their Eyes, and Paul has a big in there.
Yeah.
But once they saw,
but my point about
once
the
they
show
saw
is-
your ridiculous response, you know, negative, undermining to me.
It's not very good, is it? Do you think that was any good?
Wholly jealous of my ability to give a rendition to a very famous song, then I think they decided, well, look, you know, we don't want to be putting this guy in front of a producer when he's clearly not up to the job.
Did you see? Did you sure you got the words right? By the way,
Yeah, certain.
she's holding legs.
Yes.
I don't think that's the lyric.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
She's holding legs.
Yes.
I'm sure that's not the lyric.
Well, I got the lyrics, man, and I'm
she's
telling
got
you.
legs.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
not she's holding them.
Yeah, well...
Whose legs is she holding?
Well, I don't know, but those are the words. I
You're
didn't
holding
write
your
the
own
song.
legs.
I didn't write the song. But anyway, look, I'll
Well,
tell
as
you
I
what,
said,
then. I'll tell you what.
if Paul Hawksby
Yeah. Mm.
says that, you know, we've had a word with Harry Hill's team and they're very keen to get you on.
Yeah.
And they were talking about next season, by the way, because this
I know
season's
that.
already done.
I know that.
Then, you know, then I will accompany you, but there would have to be some very strict rules laid
All
down.
right, supposing you were offered the opportunity to do it, who would you choose to impersonate?
Who would I choose to impersonate? Well, as we said yesterday, I mean, you might be better off doing Kenny Rogers. If I was going to do anybody,
Ruby.
I have. I mean, as you know, Yeah, you did this
Don't
last
take
night.
your love to town.
You did that last night.
I know all the words to that song, by the way.
Really? Well, you don't
It
know
wasn't
the
me who started that old crazy Asian war, but I was proud to go and do my patriotic chore. And it won't be long, I've heard them say, before I'm not around.
You actually think you're quite a good singer, don't you?
Ruby, don't take your love to town.
Here we
I
go.
thought that's quite good.
Yeah, well, you think you're quite a good singer. Mr. 13 says, not
Yep.
bad, ZZ, Porky. A little
Yep.
bit of tuning, good energy, though.
Yep.
You should see a vocal coach for a brush-up and then crack on.
Good idea. Okay, I might do that. I
And,
might take your advice.
Sean
there.
says, oh dear, brilliant, Porky. Painted Black is still your best to date. Mind you, that wasn't hard. Look at Mick Jagger.
Oh, that's a bit harsh, isn't it? Yeah.
Anyway,
We should get Painted Black on our YouTube channel.
is there a video of that?
There's a video of it. I'll go and find it somewhere. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, I see. I don't idolise anybody in particular that I would want to go and impersonate. See, most of the people that go on that show are you know, they are big fans of the
but
people.
who do you think you could impersonate? It's all very well you criticising me for my efforts to do it, but who
Well,
could you?
Well, because I know you're doing it out of
See,
this lust for fame and
no,
fortune.
No, it's not lust for fame. There's one obvious candidate.
I would be, if I was in a band, I would be like the Bill Wyman figure, sort of standing at the back,
rubbish.
nodding
Bill
sagely.
Wyman was almost anorexic.
What?
Bill Wyman was almost
No,
anorexic.
he wasn't anorexic. The fact
Mate, there
was
is
that
one
he didn't like being in the limelight. And
There
he
is
just used
one
to, he just used to
obvious-
laugh at what Mick Jagger was up to. So you would like to be Mick Jagger, jumping about, getting all the attention.
No,
because
no.
that's what you're about.
There is one obvious person which you could be, and
Yeah.
quite successfully, and that is Meatloaf.
Meatloaf.
And I'd like the listeners to endorse that, please, with a few tweets or a few messages or whatever. Do you not think that old MG would be a dead ringer for Meatloaf, and
That's good. That
and physically,
that's good. That good,
What?
good pun.
What?
Well, dead ringer.
Dead ringer. That's right. Dead ringer for love. That's right. That's it. Of course, I knew what I was saying.
Yeah, of course you did.
And let me know if you think that's a good idea. And let's start a campaign that if we can't do ZZ Top, old MG will do Meatloaf.
I have never, acceded to this request of yours, which wasn't even a request.
What's
that
the
I should
opening
go,
words to that famous song of his?
Bat Out of Hell.
Eh?
Well, Bat Out of
Yeah,
Hell.
Bat
what
Out
are
of
you
Hell.
thinking of? I'm not sure. I'd have
Oh,
to
come
think
on.
about
You
that.
know, you usually know the words to these songs.
I usually do, but it's gone from my head at the moment. But the point is, I'm not interested in singing as an impersonator in front of
You don't want to entertain people?
Well, no.
You want to give some joy to people in the world?
I'm quite happy.
That's what I do. That's what I do.
I'm quite happy doing
I
what I
spread
do.
joy.
Yeah, I know you spread
joy.
But when I finish doing what I do here,
I light people's lives up.
I quite like going to do live shows with you. I quite like, but I don't walk down the street entertaining people randomly.
People's lives are black and white. 99% of people's lives in this country are black and white. Do you know what I do? I turn them to Technicolor.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Well,
That's my job.
congratulations.
It's my job. That's
Well,
what we should do.
congratulations.
That we're entertainers.
Yeah.
Not just here, Mike, to talk into a microphone. We're here to provide a service, the service of entertainment,
Well,
to lift
entertainment
people's lives.
is one thing. Informing people is another thing.
Yeah,
You know, I don't wish to turn myself into a clown, however.
Well, you're not turning yourself into a clown, are you? What you're doing is you're trying to contribute to the
You want me to
cultural-
dress up
the
as
cultural...
a Texan guitar player with
No.
a very long beard?
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I just said Meatloaf.
Well, either or. You want me to dress up as somebody?
Well, I think you should
and
join
act
me
like a clown.
in the ZZ Top project. I really do.
Yeah, really. It's
But
a project.
you haven't got the. You just simply haven't got the nous to be able to do it. By the way, you remember the video for that one?
I've seen the time, by the way.
Yeah, okay, in a minute. But you've seen the video for that one. That
Yeah.
red car was so iconic, wasn't it? We
It
talked
was.
about it last night, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
And so many glamorous people in that video. Yeah, marvellous.
Yeah,
marvellous.
well,
Like it,
we're still
like
not doing
like
it until they come and beg us to do it. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Coming up, we're going to talk a bit about Everton. We're going to talk about sheepskin coats as well,
Certainly are.
because apparently nobody's wearing them anymore. This is Talk Sport. I see Andy Murray is taken to the court down in Melbourne.
Oh, excellent.
So it's a relatively,
track of that one,
relatively
yeah.
hot day. We'll keep you
Yeah.
updated on
Yeah.
that. He's playing a man by the name of Marinko Matosevic. Yeah. So we'll let you know how that all goes. Dave Bloody will be giving us some updates perhaps on that. Now, let's talk about warm weather trading, because apparently Everton, who are Fanar, not in the FA Cup, I'm sorry to say, because they've said they've got a big gap now, haven't they? They haven't got
right.
anybody to play. So why are they going to Qatar, apparently?
Yeah, well, look,
What are they doing that for?
I think things are, a little bit. What's the word I'm looking for? Maybe a little bit troublesome behind the scenes because of the penalty situation.
Yeah.
So you got
Do you think
Marala.
they're taking Kevin Morales with them?
Oh, they're definitely taking Morales with them, but part of the reason they're going is for a team bonding exercise because they haven't had a good season so far. So they want the boys to bond. They want to make sure there's no problem between Morales and Leighton Baines, you know what I mean?
Right.
That the manager gets on top of it all that kind of stuff. But I'm not just focusing on Everton here. I think West Ham have already been out to that part of the world since the new year or over Christmas or something for warm weather training.
Well, lots of clubs go out there now because of some contractual obligation, don't they? Like particularly Manchester City will go out there because the owners are out there.
Absolutely. But what I really don't understand, Mike, and I just don't get it at all, is why do clubs in the Northern Hemisphere and in the north of Europe, where the weather is very cold at this time of the year, why would you go for warm weather training?
It doesn't make any sense, does it?
Well, I mean...
Because it's not going to be that warm in this country till about May.
No. It won't be this warm in this country ever compared to how warm it is now in Qatar. I mean, even in Qatar today, it's about, 32 degrees. It's very rarely 32 degrees in this country in the summer.
No, exactly.
So what I'm saying is they go out there, do the warm weather training for... I suppose they could be there for a week, couldn't they? Because they don't play again until we see them at Crystal Palace a week on
31st,
Saturday.
that's right, yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, so they'll be very well rested then by then.
Well, they'll be well rested and they're very warm, but then they come back to the ravages of a cold Northern European winter. And I would have thought, to be perfectly honest, certainly if I was the manager of a club, and again, I'm not picking on Everton, lots of clubs do it, and it's all called warm weather training, I would take my players somewhere for cold weather training. In fact,
is it also about something to do with their stamina and making them, if they can run around in very, very hot weather, then actually makes them fitter, and then when they come back,
I don't care about
they can run
that.
more?
I take them somewhere where it's very, very cold at the moment.
Yeah.
Literally like Siberia.
Right.
And make them train in, sort of minus 10 degree temperatures.
Or even
So that-
Scandinavia, where it's probably a lot
Scandinavia, something like that. Bergen in Norway.
Yeah.
Iceland. Iceland's not that cold, by the way.
Is
I
it?
go to Iceland quite regularly. It's
When was
not
the
that
last
cold.
time you went to Iceland?
Oh, a couple of years ago.
Really?
A couple of years ago, yeah. Stayed
Well, before the volcano blew up.
before the volcano blew up,
Right.
yeah. In the Borg Hotel, stayed in Reykjavik. you know.
Yeah, we had this conversation because
Yes.
I was asking why it's called the Borg Hotel,
Yeah.
and the Borg is apparently named after somebody else. It's not nothing to do with
No,
Bjorn
not
Borg, is it?
Bjorn. No, it's a very popular name in Scandinavia, of course. And I would have thought, I was going to say, take them to the Falkland Islands, but of course that'll be their summer now, won't it?
Well, it's a long way away as well.
Yeah, it is a long way away. But Bergen's not in Norway, and Siberia's not that far away. And I would have honestly thought that to regulate the body, the muscles, the ligaments, and all that to the sort of conditions they're going to expect when they start playing football again
Yeah.
in this country, they should be in cold weather training, not warm weather
But
training.
also, given the way
that's nonsense.
given the way that they're all behaving at Everton, maybe Siberia would be a good place. Take them to a salt mine, give them a bit of hardship.
Yeah, I mean,
for
that's
a while.
very stupid analogy.
Why is it a stupid analogy?
Well, because, all
Everybody
clubs go
knows
through
things are not
problems
going
like
very
this.
well.
Now, listen, I want to talk to you about sheepskin coats,
Yes, I
okay?
know, yeah.
This is fantastic. I saw John Motson quite recently at a game, and I can't remember which one it was. And then...
Well, it must have been the West Ham Everton game, wasn't it? That's the only game you've been to recently, isn't it?
Let me just think. No, it wasn't. It was...
Well, you haven't been to that many games this year because you've been so busy.
No. Anyway, all right. Well, I saw John somewhere recently. Now, I also am aware he was in the... Actually, he was in the boardroom at West Ham for the West Ham-Arsenal game, okay?
West Ham Arsenal.
Have West Ham played Arsenal recently?
But you weren't at the West Ham Arsenal game.
No, I know I wasn't, but I know he was there because somebody told me
Well,
about
you
it.
told me you saw him. Surely he must have been the West Ham Everton game.
Could
The
have been.
the cup replay.
Could have been. Could have been.
Well,
Anyway,
that's the only one you've been to recently.
yes, I know, but I think I saw him at some social event, seriously.
Oh, did you?
I remember standing in the middle of a room and he had a glass in his hand.
Maybe it was a Christmas party.
Yeah, it could have been, yeah. Anyway, look, I'll tell you what I'm telling you about.
what are you telling me about?
Sheepskin coats, okay?
yeah.
Now, the factory that supplied the coats that John Motson wears,
Yeah.
and he's had up to 20 of them during his career.
Has he?
And also,
That's a lot, isn't it? Because surely they last quite a long time, sheepskin coats. They're very heavy, aren't they?
Well, they're very heavy, but I mean, they get a lot of wear and tear when you're, rolling around in football stadia and all that kind of stuff.
Rolling
you know what I mean?
around. Well, not everybody rolls around.
Well, don't roll around, but I mean, it's a mucky environment amongst television cables and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. But not only do they make the coats for John Motson, they make the coats for Del Boy in
Only Fools and
Horses,
Yeah.
right? And they make them to measure and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, the company that's been making them for 169 years, called Nursey and Son,
Oh, yeah.
from Suffolk, okay? So it's in Bungay. Where's Bungay?
Bungay's in Suffolk, presumably, isn't it?
Well, it is in Suffolk, yeah.
Well, I
so
thought you knew Suffolk quite well. You got a place up there.
I have indeed. So it's Alan Brazil territory, and they're closing down after 169 years. Fashion is changing, and the weather isn't as cold as it used to be, says Tim Nursey, the managing director. and he is the fifth generation of his family to work for the company, which started in 1846, OK? He began at the company training when he was 18.
Have you ever had a sheepskin coat?
Well, this is what I'm going to tell you about, you see. Sheepskin coats, peak of popularity in the 80s, helped by Del Boy, Only Fools and Horses, and perhaps more particularly by John Motson on Match of the Day. But he says, tastes have changed now, and although people... tastes have changed, and few people now are willing to pay up to £800 for a handmade coat.
I'm not surprised.
Even if they do last for 30 years.
Well,
now,
so if John Motson bought his coats from there, right?
Yeah.
And they last for up to 30 years, and
Yeah.
he bought 20 of them,
Yeah.
does that mean John Motson's 600 years old?
No, don't be daft. What it means is he might have a collection of coats at home or something
Why
like
would
that.
he buy 20 coats if they last 30 years?
I don't know, but he did tell me, honestly, once. I remember John he said, I've had about 20 of them. I don't know whether he gets a new one every season or something like that, you know.
Was he full of the joys of spring at the time?
No, I'm not going to answer a question like that because it's provocative and you're making fun of John Motson.
Well, I don't understand why he would have 20 coats if they last 30 years.
Well, that's what he told me. Anyway, look, I was going to tell you about this because did you ever come with me to Brooklyn when we were in New York and have a sheepskin coat made?
No.
With there was a
I've never owned a sheepskin coat.
there was a Polish tailor over in Brooklyn, right? Used to specialise in sheepskin coats.
There's a picture
right?
of a sheepskin coat there.
Oh, that's on your tablet, yeah, for the benefit
My
of our
magic
listeners.
tablet.
Yeah, your magic tablets, yeah. Now, what used to happen is we used to go over to Brooklyn, right,
Yeah.
and get the sheepskin coat made.
When you say we,
Well, I went with Phil Finn, I remember, definitely
you?
once. I thought I'd been over with you and we
No.
had them fitted and measured.
No.
Anyway, what happened to these
I
sheep...
was about 24, 25 when you and I met, right?
Yeah.
And why would I wear a sheepskin coat?
Well, I was wearing one.
Yeah, well, you were a bit older than me.
Well,
and
only a li-
also very square.
Only a little bit older.
But also very square.
And I decided... Anyway, I had this beautiful sheepskin coat made. We all did. And, of course, that's what led to that dreadful incident outside Costello's one night. Do you remember? When it was minus 10.
Yeah.
And somebody else had gone and got a sheepskin coat. And the point is, they made
Was
them...
it that expensive? Was it like 800 quid then?
Oh,
Something like that.
very expensive.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I'd say so. $750, I think I remember
Really?
I paid for it. Yeah, in those
Right.
days.
What happened to it then? I don't remember you wearing it.
I outgrew it, to be honest. But anyway, the way they made them is they had massive, great, wide lapels, sheepskin lapels,
Yeah.
OK? So, obviously, there was a lot of white fur on the front of the coat. Do you
Right.
see?
Yeah.
Anyway, we were in Costello's that night, if you remember. It was about minus 10.
Yeah.
And in those days, you could park cars right outside the bar. And the limo, turned up to take us somewhere, and it waited outside for a good half hour because we were finishing our drinks.
Yeah.
And snow was falling, fell on the bonnet.
And it was very cold.
It was very, very cold. Snow fell on the bonnet, also known as the hood, of course, in American cars. And one of the guys went out, if you remember, waiting to get into the car, but also waiting for us to come out.
Yeah.
And he was so intoxicated, he slumped forward onto the bonnet of the car,
Yeah.
if you remember.
Yeah.
And because he had this massively furry sheepskin coat on, after 5 minutes, he was face down on the snow-covered bonnet. The wool grew into the frozen snow.
Well, it stuck to it, didn't it?
It stuck to it. So did his face. His face stuck to the snow as well, because it was minus 10.
Right.
So when we all then came out and we tried to lift him up, we couldn't. He was stuck to the front of the car with frozen snow from his sheepskin coat.
And did he not sort of become unconscious at this point?
Well, he was unconscious now. He was unconscious, couldn't wake him up. So anyway, we thought, how are we going to get him off? And the only way we could do it was to get the driver to get into the car and start the engine in the hope that it would...
Thaw him out.
Well, warm the bonnet,
Yeah.
warm the hood, and that would melt a bit, and we could get him off the front of the car, which he was stuck to.
Yeah.
We couldn't do it because the driver refused to get into the car and start it up with a human being plastered, literally,
Yeah.
to the front of his car.
Yeah.
So Ivor Key, if you remember, said, don't be so bloody ridiculous, son. Ivor from Yorkshire,
Right.
give me them keys. Got in, started it up, and started revving it very,
This was the same guy who destroyed Dino
eh?
De Laurentiis' car in Hollywood.
Oh,
Remember
did
that
he?
story? Yeah.
No, I don't know. You tell me that in a
I'll
minute.
tell you that in a minute.
And nothing seemed to be happening.
Yeah.
And a police car came past, and the
I've
guys.
forgotten this story,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. The guys got out, the cops, and said, good evening, gentlemen, what's going on here? And Ivor, who was intoxicated as well, said, accused the cops of being bloody stupid because it was obvious what was going on. And what is that, sir?
This man stuck to the bonnet of the car.
Oh, mate's stuck to the car. I'm trying to get him off. You bloody stupid or what? The cops didn't take to being talked to like this, and they asked for an explanation as to why the man was stuck to the front of the car, how had he got there, why were we all intoxicated, and why was Ivor Key sitting in a car intoxicated, revving up the engine?
Yeah.
Where was he going to drive it to? He said, well, I'm not going to drive anywhere with me stuck on the front, am I? And all this kind of stuff. Anyway, got into a terrible row, particularly when one of the policemen took out his nightstick and poked Ivor in the chest. Ivor swung at him, trying to hit him, missed, and the guy fell over, and then 4 of them got arrested. And if you remember, they were up in the night court that night.
I don't remember that bit.
Yeah, they were dragged into...
I think I might have left before any of that
They were dragged. They were dragged to the night court. Meanwhile, our mate, who's frozen to the front, he was still frozen to the front of the car. Took ages to get him off because by this time this riot had erupted around him.
Yeah.
He was completely unaware of it, and he was still stuck to the front of the car.
Dear me.
But the problem was when Ivor got into court, the person who was the judge was a woman called Ellie, who had previously been a friend of ours years before.
Right.
And a legal associate or something had suddenly become a judge. Do you remember?
Right. Yeah.
She was the woman who, I mean, how she ever became a judge, I don't know. Because she used to go and have sex with another friend of ours in the men's bathrooms in the very bar that this incident took place. Do you remember?
No, I don't remember any of this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's all coming back to me. It was a very long time ago.
It was a long time ago, but that's the sequence of events.
Yeah.
So we're lucky in that, I've appeared in front of this woman who was very well known to
so
us.
she let him off, in other words?
Basically, it was, all put down as a misunderstanding and all that. And, it was like a $30 fine or something like that, and no stain on your record and all that kind of stuff. But, I mean...
I didn't have to stay in the tombs overnight.
I don't know. I don't think he stayed in overnight. But that all came about of us all having these sheepskin coats that we used to flounce around New York in and say, looks fantastic. Now, the thing is,
I never had one.
Those sheepskin coats were designed for temperatures of minus 25 degrees, which was what the wind chill factor made Manhattan.
Yeah.
When the winds were coming off the East River and the Hudson are meeting in the middle. Whoa, it was like,
Are you going to stop at any point?
Well,
it's now taking you 15 minutes to tell one story about a sheepskin coat.
But,
it's nearly time for the news.
Yeah, but the point is, there was no point in bringing it back to Britain. It was so heavy it needed its own suitcase. And it never got cold enough in this country to merit needing a sheepskin coat, which was about literally
So did you give it to somebody, then?
4 inches thick. I gave it away to somebody in America,
Did you?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you
In fact,
very
I
quickly.
gave it to. I think I gave it to Doreen, Ivor's wife. Yeah,
Really?
I'm sure I did. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure she was very grateful. No, the story about him was that he was out in California and he was never a very good driver. And he went to one of those private clubs in Hollywood to have lunch with somebody. And you know how they have them all? They're kind of on a slight hump.
Yes.
And you drive your car up and you get to the top of the hump and you stop the car and you put the brake on and you hand the keys to the guy that goes and parks the car for you.
Exactly.
He, unfortunately, stopped the car at the top of the hump, got out of the car, handed the keys to the guy, but had forgotten to put the handbrake on. So the car started teetering down the other side of the hump, down towards what could only be described as a very expensive Porsche 911, which was at the bottom of the hump. And he described it as going down. He got faster and faster as he got down this hill, hit this Porsche, and it all just exploded.
Gosh.
And as he went in, he went, oh dear, to the guy who was on the door. Do you know whose car that is? And the guy was like, yes, sir, that belongs to Dino De Laurentiis. He's inside having lunch. And he was the big Hollywood director.
Yeah.
And Ivor's car was a hire car. And he didn't even have to pay for it because it was all insured.
Goodness
but he completely
gracious.
wrecked this guy's Porsche, which he'd bought apparently with the proceeds of some very successful film.
And did he meet Dino?
No, he didn't. No, he made his excuses and
left immediately. Yeah, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
So would I've done.
And as he said, when he went to hand the car back in, he handed the hire car back in a plastic bag.
Yeah, I'm
It
not
was a
surprised.
complete wreck.
Some of those Hollywood directors have got very strange friends.
Yeah, yes, you don't want to cross them. Really.
You're absolutely right, mate. Yeah.
This is TalkSport Extra Time. We are the two Mikes, and of course there will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on. Peter in Liverpool says this: Mike Graham asked Mike Parry about Cliff Barnes out of Dallas when asking him about Cliffs in the Cliff quiz. I can't guarantee there will be a question about Cliff Barnes, but there might well be.
Yeah, I see.
There might well be.
I
Now,
see.
we talked about these speed cameras the other day.
We certainly
on,
did.
A stretch of the M25 in Kent, which is sure to be the guinea pig, you would have to say, for lots of other motorways around the country.
I think it's so un-British. I hate it.
And these are these new cameras which are not yellow.
They're grey.
They're grey, and they're sort of hidden off to the side.
I mean, there's a picture there, look, of where they're located.
Yeah.
They're located just to the right of the huge stanchions which have all the motorway direction signs on them.
And they're calling it a sneaky Gatso.
Well, it is.
And they've revealed in one of the papers that £2.1 million of taxpayers' money has been spent by hiring this company to put these cameras up, and they're going to catch thousands and thousands of drivers. And they've already caught loads of them already, and they didn't even know they were caught.
Well, there's no flash and all that because they're infrared, OK? So I don't even know you're getting done. There's no signs to say they're there. They're terribly un-British, but I mean... more and more our society, Mike, has become mean-minded, mean-spirited and regulatory. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The freedom of people to move around in this country is getting more and more curtailed every day. The idea that you've got to drive at 70 miles an hour on an empty motorway is ludicrous, utterly ludicrous.
And if you go more than 70 miles an hour in this stretch of the M25, then you're going to get a ticket.
And I think that stretch of the M25 includes a bit that you travel on, doesn't
Well,
it?
I wonder whether it does, because I go on a bit where it becomes Kent. It goes through Essex into Kent.
I think it's a disgrace.
And it's a sort of southeast corner. I don't know whether it's there or not.
It's a disgrace. I mean, I have thought quite seriously in the past, and then you might think this is a joke, but it's not, of getting revolving number plates on my car.
Well, that would be illegal, wouldn't it?
Well, yes, of course it'd be illegal, but they wouldn't be able to catch you, would they?
Well, of course they would.
No, they wouldn't.
Because they would find the car, they would get a picture, presumably they get a picture of the car.
Yes.
And then they would notice that the plate was an illegal plate.
No, not at all. Because, I mean, if you
What happens, for example, if you buy a specialised number plate?
Yes.
Which I'm surprised somebody like you doesn't have, actually.
I have. I've got an Everton number plate, E7RTN.
Have you?
Yes.
E7RTN?
Yes.
I've never noticed that.
Yeah, well, it's not on my car, that's why.
Oh.
Because
Well, so
I
it's not-
I bought it and I
Right.
own it. It cost me
So you could put it-
2,700 quid.
Did you?
Yeah.
So why isn't it on your car?
Well, because I want to put it on a special car. And,
What sort of special car?
well, a royal blue car.
Right.
Maybe a Bentley or something like that.
A Bentley?
But I don't have one at the moment.
Right.
That's why it is in storage.
Right, okay.
Okay.
So what would happen if you then put a number plate on your regular
Yeah.
number plate?
Yeah.
Does that number plate then get recycled? Does somebody else get it? Or do you keep that forever?
What happens is when you buy a number plate, you either have to put it on a vehicle and
Yeah.
it has to be registered with DVLA,
Yeah.
or you have to pay a retention fee of £75 a year to retain ownership of it, even though you've paid
Really?
£2,500 for
Or
it.
even
Yeah.
if it's not even if it's not in use?
Yes, well, if it isn't in use, you have to pay a retention fee every year
That's
to
a bit of a
retain
rip-off,
ownership of it. And if you don't, it reverts back to DVLA.
Oh, really?
And you lose your £2,500, yeah.
Blimey. So, I mean, but presumably then you would have to keep your other number plate for when you sold the car that you bought with that number plate on it, so that when you sell it to whoever buys it.
What you do is you go to a local DVLA, area office,
Yeah.
and you legally change the number plate of your car.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
what happens to the old number plate is what I'm saying, the one you bought the
It's
car?
discontinued.
So what happens when you sell the car then?
What you do
They have
is
to get a new plate for it.
exactly. You take your plate off and you say to DVLA, "This car's now unregistered,"
Right.
and they have
But
to.
wouldn't that
issue-
make it harder to sell if you're selling it to somebody
no
second hand?
No, I don't
I
think.
mean, if I went to buy a second-hand car,
Yeah.
Which I occasionally do,
Yeah,
as you know,
yeah.
and they said to me, it doesn't have a number plate, you'll have to buy one.
No, I think you're right. I don't know. I've never reverted back, but I
Yeah.
think it just goes back to the original number plate before you put yours on.
Ah.
But I mean, when Wayne Rooney was at Everton, right, and I could see he was going to be a huge star.
Yeah.
I bought 2 Rooney number plates.
Did you?
I bought R9.
How many number plates have you actually bought then? So that's 3 altogether.
Yeah, 3. R999
Yeah.
NEY.
Yeah.
But made the O in the 9
Yeah, I get that.
very big.
Yeah.
And the little bit at the bottom of the 9 very small.
Yeah.
So it actually looks like Rooney. And R100 NEY.
Yeah. Reuni.
Well, you sort of all you do is you make sure that the one.
But haven't they ruled that to be illegal as well? You have to make sure that they're not. You don't
Well,
sort of mess about.
they
too
keep
much
saying that, but I see so many number plates where people have pushed all the numbers
Mm.
and letters together to spell one word. I don't think they endorse it. I just don't think they endorse it. You know. So what I'm saying is that if you've got I mean, I've always worried about having a.
So what have you done with these other 2 plates?
Well, again, I retain ownership of
So
them.
they're still in your. So you pay equivalent of £225 a year,
Yeah.
just to have 3 plates that
Yes,
you don't use.
which are not allocated
You've
to
got
vehicles
more money
at the
than
moment.
sense, haven't you?
No, not really. No, because I might get a second vehicle. For instance,
Well,
you
you
know,
might do.
having 2 homes, you could
Yeah.
have 2 vehicles, couldn't you?
Well,
And
you
if
have
it-
got a second vehicle. What about the plate that's on the old heap
Beca-
of a Jag down there that you
because-
used to
because,
just
to
keep
be
in
honest-
a parking space?
To be honest, it's not worth putting a personalised number plate on it because it's not a sufficiently good car.
I see.
You know, it's a working car, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if I've never understood why. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing because
Why?
it was suggested to me by our producer that if it's an old banger, then maybe you should put the Everton number plate on it because it'd be more fitting, given that Everton are like an
Really?
old banger
Yeah.
of a club.
And that came from our producer.
It did, yes.
Yeah, that's very witty. That.
It is
Very
witty,
funny.
isn't it? Yeah, I quite like it actually.
Yeah,
Quite
yeah.
amusing. Now,
Lend me a pan or something. You're going to hit him.
there's no need for violence. Now,
yeah.
so you can't have a revolving number plate though.
Well, you see, this is what I'm saying.
You think James Bond or something?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but by the way, if I get the personalised number plate,
Yeah.
I think that car becomes known about very quickly. distinct ones. For instance, I was driving down the M25 not so long ago, certainly before Christmas, and up ahead in the middle lane, I saw what I thought was a Rolls-Royce.
Yeah.
I got closer, it was a Rolls-Royce, and it was a Rolls-Royce, and the number plate was GOLD.
GOLD, as in David Gold.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And he wasn't driving the car, because
No.
obviously I cruised past,
Well, maybe
I
it's
looked
not
over.
his car.
No, I think it is his car, but it was either a chauffeur or somebody or whatever,
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Right.
it is definitely his car, because I've seen it parked in West Ham's car park when
right, okay.
West Ham have been
Well,
at
it
home.
must be his then, must
It is
it?
his car, yeah,
That'd
it
be
is
too
his
much of a
car.
coincidence.
But he wasn't driving it at the time, that's all I'm saying. No, but what I'm saying is, I can't see how you could possibly get caught if you had revolving number plates, because the minute you went down the slip road, if you pressed your button and got your number plate turned round, James
Yeah.
Bond style, as you
Yeah.
quite rightly say,
Right.
then that number would be picked up by cameras.
Yeah,
And
but if it was the Everton one, say, for example,
Yes.
they would know that was registered to you.
yes, but I wouldn't. I'd have a couple of dummy number plates.
So now this is turning into a conspiracy.
Well, not really.
You get extra time in
Not
prison
really.
for that.
Look,
Yes, it is.
hang on. I am not encouraging anybody to break the law
No,
under any
thank goodness for that.
circumstances, because that's wrong.
But you're saying that you're
But-
willing to break the law.
But I think the law is very wrong to make us travel at only 70 miles an
Yeah.
hour on an empty motorway.
Well,
there
that
should
may
be
well
variable. There should be variable speed limits, right?
Yeah, but there aren't, though.
And I
so
think-
until such time
I
as there
think-
are, then you just have to work within the law,
I
surely.
think that the individual driver, who is an oppressed member of our society in a massive way,
You feel oppressed.
oh, absolutely oppressed. You know, insurance charges, parking charges, speeding fines, fines for going into
But
bus
you told me
lanes.
you've never been done for speeding.
No, well, I have to be very careful. All I'm saying is, I do believe that the driver in this country, and there are like 25 million of them, have a legitimate right to form a protest method of pointing out that the rules are very, very unfair.
Isn't what the
Okay?
AA and the RAC are supposed to be about? They're
Well-
supposed to be like lobbying groups for the government,
Well,
aren't they?
yes,
Right.
indeed.
Are you a member of either of those organisations?
No,
Why not?
because I never drive cars that are so knackered they'll break down. So I wouldn't need the AA
So
or
you
the
don't
RAC.
have any breakdown on your insurance then? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I've got a personal breakdown service with Mercedes at the moment.
Personal?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
they just follow you around in case you break down.
No, but they come within half an hour.
Yeah.
And so I don't have a problem. So there's no point in being the RAC or the AA or anything like that. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I have one of those
And-
in my bank, actually.
What's that?
A breakdown service.
You should have one with a psychiatrist, because that's the sort of breakdown that you're more likely to have, because of your difficulties in getting your private life together.
My private life's fine.
Your very, very complicated life outside this studio.
I don't go around buying three
Your-
number plates that I'm
your-
never going to use.
your
and paying
ability-
£225 a year just to keep them in the house.
Your ability to balance two families either side of the Atlantic and still maintain.
I don't need to do that.
Maintain your sanity. I'm sorry, Mike, but when it comes to you pointing out to me what I should have breakdown services for, I think you're on a sticky wicket.
Yeah. Well, here's a couple of tweets for you.
Right.
Phil says this. Listen to that fat fool in his coat story. Nearly made me crash my car laughing.
Yeah.
Loving the show in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Somebody, because I put a picture out of that sheepskin coat.
Oh,
before.
did you? Excellent, yeah.
Looks like the one Del Boy used to wear, says Kevin. And Beanie Tony says, revolving number plates, Porky thinks he's James Bond. Because you do, don't you?
Well, no, I don't really. I just think that there must be a way. You see, my Mercedes is gun barrel grey, a colour that was introduced 2 years ago. But a lot of them were imported into this country. For instance, some of these containers ships that turn up at Felixstowe,
Yeah.
you saw the massive giant one that turned up
Well, that one that
last week.
upturned itself in the Solent.
Well, unfortunately, yeah, but there's even bigger ones going to Felixstowe, which is our
Now,
big-
look, we've got a caller here.
Let's take a call.
Who's a Man City
Yeah,
fan,
come
but
on.
he's got some news for you on revolving number plates.
Excellent.
Birch, is it Birch?
Hello there, lads. How are you doing? You all
Yeah,
right?
very
Yeah,
well.
doing very well, Birch.
What would you like to say?
I have a motorbike, and I was on the M6 toll, and we was messing around with this Porsche, and we got to the end of the toll. He said, "Yeah, I'm back. Have a look at this." And he had a revolving number plate, and one number plate come up with actual number plate. Next one was blank, and the other one was a naughty message.
Really?
So you can get them, boys, and people do have them.
So you're telling
Clear
me
that up.
that when he knew he was going past the camera, he would speed up and then turn the number plate to the naughty message?
Well, yeah.
Wow.
That's what he was doing, but that was that's what he was doing.
That's
but
very
I was on
stylish.
a bike,
You
so-
think that's stylish?
I think that's very
I think
stylish.
that's
indeed.
idiotic. I think that's idiotic, Birch. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Not only is it idiotic, it's
Well,
also illegal.
well, of course it's
and
illegal.
Of course he will be
Yeah.
tracked down because
Yeah.
they'll track him down. They will find some way.
No, but you
of
see, this is
knowing
what I'm
which,
saying. You get
they'll
the-
find out if he's got a grey Porsche. They'll go and find every grey Porsche in the country until they find him.
You get these huge containers coming in. There's probably a couple of thousand cars in this country identical to mine. Probably a couple of thousand,
Yeah.
right? How would they possibly trace my car if I chose, which I'm not going to,
because they can work
to
through,
act illegally?
Because if
To
they
act
decided
illegally.
to do it, they could just track you down by going from one to the other, and they'll go, right, there are
They wouldn't-
2,000 of them. We're going to go and find which one it is.
They wouldn't spend that amount of resources on tracking down one car because it was doing 83 miles an hour on the M6. They
Yeah.
wouldn't. They'd be
Well,
mad
the
to
other
do
thing,
so.
The other thing is that everywhere you drive, you're almost always on camera in some way, shape, or form.
I know.
So they just follow and see where you live.
No, they couldn't do that.
I bet there's cameras in your street.
No, doubt it.
Bet there are.
Doubt it.
This is Talk Sport. Coming up, Porky's State of the Union address. This is TalkSport Extra Time. We are the two mics, and Andy Murray's won the first set, 6-1.
Hooray!
2-0 up in the set. What are you cheering for? You don't like Andy Murray.
I do like Andy Murray. He's
You do
British
not.
and he's playing in Australia.
You're always moaning about Andy Murray.
Land of the old Roo. Land of the Roo.
Maybe you can sell him your number plate.
Yeah, why not?
You know,
yeah.
Rudy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, anyway, Barack Obama is standing up in Washington, D.C., and he's making his State of the Union address, talking
Yep.
about all the things that he wants to fix about America. It's
Yep.
now time for you to deliver your State of the Union address to the lucky people here at TalkSport Towers. Now, we've
Yep.
got some musical accompaniment for you.
Okay.
So,
Want me to talk over the music?
yes, I think you should.
Okay, that's good.
Away you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, the State of the Union of the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland. The United Kingdom is in great shape. Oil prices are going down, so people have more money to spend. It is boom time. And as it's boom time, we must build on it and demolish all turbines and all wind farms across the country. Petrol's getting cheaper. We don't need these monstrosities, so we're going to pull them all down. And what we're going to do with all the rubbishy metal that they're made of is dump it somewhere in the sea and build false islands for underwater creatures to breed. What are you laughing at?
Underwater creatures.
Underwater creatures.
To breed. What, you mean, like fish?
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, things like that. That's right. Yeah. Now we must lower taxes to build on this boom to bring us boom time, and then we must eradicate litter, which devalues the whole country by 10%. If we could remove litter in this country would indeed be a sceptred isle and worth much more than it is now. It would be boom time. But that's not the end of it. We must turn off all street lights in this country at all times to save even more money, to save power. Blackouts are good. They worked during the Second World War. The most severe injury that blackouts ever brought to people were broken teeth, broken noses, and 1 or 2 fractured skulls. It is worth paying that price to save ourselves a huge energy bill in a world that now finds it has plenty of energy. We must build 3 new cities in Argyllshire because we have a lot of people in this country and more are coming from around the world to enjoy the prosperity we have here. And if we wish to cope with our increased numbers, then we must provide for more dwellings in more towns. But we should not put them where we already have towns. We should put them where there are no towns and towns can be built. That is the State of the Nation address. If we follow these steps which I've outlined and proposed, we will indeed remain and become a greater power to give to the world and to take only the thanks of the many, not the few.
that's enough of that nonsense before he starts singing.
Open
Don't sing, for heaven's sake.
glory. Thank God of the free.
Can you not sing at all along with the people who are also singing?
Well, I didn't hear. It was they're not singing very.
There's a bit of a delay on the singing.
very
Anyway,
distinctly.
actually, that was a very well put together speech, I'd have to say.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I can't say I agree with all of it. I think there will be people in Argyll
Yeah.
who are probably resentful of the fact you referred to them as Argyllshire. Because Argyllshire is apparently the anglicised version of Argyll.
Oh,
And if you're
well,
going to
you
start
know.
putting three big new cities gleaming sort of, glass and
Yeah. Yeah.
steel structures up
Yeah.
there, I think you at least ought to call it Argyll. It's Argyll and Bute is actually the
Yeah.
name of the county.
Yeah,
and
well.
the idea of putting out all the lights, I think, is a bad idea.
No, it's not a
I'm,
bad idea. I don't know why we have all these lights burning all over the country all the time.
Did I tell you about the street lights in my street that have turned very white suddenly? I think I mentioned this a while ago. It's very
It's on the river here in
very
London.
disconcerting. Yeah, just
Yes,
down
yes.
sort of towards Canary Wharf because they've replaced all the yellow lights with these very bright white lights, which are
Right.
apparently it's the equivalent of putting in those low energy bulbs inside your
Yeah, yeah.
house. Which
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
really like, and I don't have too many of them.
don't.
But the street is lit up now like a film set.
Yeah.
And you walk out on the street, and it's just so bright that it looks weird.
Down on the coast where I live, they've replaced all the streetlights with blue lamps.
Blue,
Blue.
really.
Yeah. Now the reason
So does that make it look a bit eerie? Well, instead of what were they? Yellow before.
well, just white. They were just white, and now they're blue. Now, on my balcony
Yeah.
at my penthouse down on the coast,
Right.
I have a set of binoculars on a tripod. Everybody does who lives there.
A set of binoculars on a tripod.
Yeah, everybody does. You
Really?
look- I look out over to the Isle of Wight,
That's
know,
a
and
bit
I can,
strange, isn't
no,
it?
everybody has them. If you've got the sort of views we've got,
Yeah.
everybody has binoculars. Right. They're either on the balconies in the front of the houses or in lounges.
No, but a telescope.
Well, you could have a telescope, but binoculars are making a much more
Do
complete
you remember
picture.
that scene from 10? Remember that film 10 that came out with Bo Derek and Dudley Moore?
He fell off a cliff, didn't he?
He
in that?
did. He did
Remember?
fall off a cliff. Yeah. Well, it wasn't really a cliff, but yeah.
He fell down
But
a very big
That
hill.
was in the valley,
Yeah.
where in California, where
Ah,
everybody
that's
had telescopes and they always used to stare into each other's houses.
That's right, yeah.
To watch each other doing things that perhaps they shouldn't have been watching.
Well, that's not the purpose of the.
But that was a real thing that happened.
Yeah,
in
it was.
California.
Yeah,
That's what people used to do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But the point
In
of my
New York,
sto-
of course, you didn't need a telescope or binoculars.
No,
you just
you
looked
looked
out the
straight
window.
across the
Yeah.
road, yeah. And what I'm saying is that you can track now the blue lights right across the borough,
Yeah.
and watch where the roads go and all that. So they're very distinctive and easy to track. But I don't know what the purpose of them is, and I don't know why.
Are they
I
supposed
don't-
to be using less energy or something?
I've no idea.
Right.
And I don't know why they took down the previous lampposts and put new lampposts up. There's nothing wrong with the
Well,
lampposts.
can you
and all
imagine how
that.
much money that must cost?
Well, I don't get what councils spend on money. I mean, near me in Surrey, right? They have spent the last 3 months ripping up pavements and putting new pavements in, ripping up traffic islands in the middle of the road and putting new traffic islands in. But nothing has actually changed.
No. I'll tell you what I've got.
Nothing's changed. They've just put in new pavements
I've
and
got
new paving stones.
I've got a new challenge for myself, right? Which
Yeah.
is to try and drive from
Yeah.
here to my house, which is around about 2 miles, right?
Right.
Not much more than that.
Right.
Down a route which doesn't take me over any speed bumps.
Right.
And I can't do it. There isn't
Yeah.
any way to drive from here to my house without going over at least, 10 or 15 speed bumps.
In my road, about 3 years ago, they put in speed bumps. Then they painted on the road huge 20-mile-an-hour signs.
Yeah.
And there's no school, by the way,
Right.
in my road.
Well, no, the whole of Southwark now is 20 miles an hour. The whole of Islington
Right,
is now
okay,
20 miles an hour.
20. And then just a few weeks ago, as part of this renovation I'm telling you about,
Yeah.
suddenly 2 traffic islands appeared in the road between the sets of humps.
Now-
So you're now slowing down to get over the humps, and then just as you think you're free, no, you're into a chicane with a traffic island. It's ludicrous. It is utter, and the money they must spend
I know.
on putting these
Shocking.
things in.
Now,
and
going
I
back
don't
to,
know why.
Going back
Yeah.
to islands, what was that you said about building islands in order to help breed the undersea creatures?
Well, what's going to happen eventually is, and I've told you this already, because dairy farmers now don't get any milk, we won't have any farmers. And because shepherds no longer want to shepherd because it's a boring job,
Yeah.
being on a cold hill in the middle of November,
Yeah.
those young shepherds that would rather work in towns.
Yeah.
We won't have any cattle. And
Well, 'cause
or
there aren't any
sheep.
shepherds.
No, we don't have any sheep or anything.
Well, you keep going on
So-
about this.
No,
but
no,
this
no,
is
I'm
all,
telling you.
This is all your kind of scaremongering, right?
So the
no, but I'm
next-
more interested in what you want to do with these islands. How are you going to make the islands?
Well, that's what I said. You get rid of all these wind turbines, right? You dump it all into the sea.
Right.
And then what happens is the fish build their communities on these wrecks. That's why they sink ships. They sink ships to create marine enclaves, okay? So you start a marine enclave with all these. You literally tear down all these wind turbines and you dump them
Yeah, but
somewhere
I don't think
like
you could create-
like 3 miles off
You're talking
Anglesey.
about creating like a reef, aren't you?
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking
You
about
can't
creating
create
a reef.
Where are you going to do this? In the North Sea?
Do it in the North Sea, the
Do you have any
Irish
idea how
Sea,
deep it is?
and the other. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The fish will go there, right? And by the way, the other thing which I've discovered in my study of what's the study of oceans called?
Oceanography.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is that the River Thames is the most unused resource in the whole of Great Britain.
How so?
Well, because if I said to you, right, Mike, what's the greatest open space that can be utilised in London, you'd say something like, Hyde Park. Or you'd say, you know what I mean? Or,
Yeah.
or
So you're saying it's the river?
you'd say Epping Forest or
Yeah.
something like that.
Right.
It's the River Thames.
Uh-huh.
Square mileage, the River Thames is the most
Yeah, I know, but you can't
underused.
build loads of things on the Thames, can you?
You can. You can build anything you want on the Thames because you can float things on water, but you can also use it in a much, much greater capacity for transport,
Well,
which
it
we
is
don't
used-
at the moment.
It is used for transport.
Yeah,
isn't
but
it?
not to any great extent,
Oh,
is
it is. There's a great
and
boat,
also,
there's a great boat service that goes up and down from where I live, or you can now go all the way to Chelsea on it.
if I go and see Monsieur Brazil, okay, in his place in India
You can
Dock,
get a boat from here.
I get a boat from the other side of Blackfriars Bridge,
Yeah.
which we can see from the windows of our studio here
Yeah.
in Talksport Towers.
Right.
Just jump on it, and 3 stops later, I'm off there, and it's brilliant. But it's a system that hardly anybody knows about. And what I'm saying is, the River Thames should be sponsored in the same way as any
Well,
other
those boats are
facilities.
sponsored.
Well, they should be. I mean, the way that you have naming rights for
And Boris Johnson wants to build an airport in the middle of the Thames
No,
estuary,
that'll
doesn't he?
never happen. That'll never happen. It'll take too long. You should just expand Heathrow. And if people have got to have their houses knocked down, that's just a bit of hard luck. They should have, moved into a house near to Heathrow Airport in the first place.
Right.
No, what I'm saying is, in the same way as Mr. Levy at Spurs is hunting around the world for somebody to adopt the naming rights of a new stadium, the River Thames should attract hundreds of millions of pounds of sponsorship to be called not the River Thames anymore, but the River Coca-Cola.
Don't be ridiculous. Bonkers.
It's not bonkers.
Yeah,
Or
I'm not having that.
or the
At
River
the time.
McDonald's or something like that.
I would absolutely
McDonald's
not have that.
River. Imagine if it
Ridiculous.
was called McDonald's River. You'd get
Absolutely
hundreds of millions of
ridiculous.
pounds of sponsorship.
No, I'm not interested.
What's wrong with that?
There's a lot wrong with it. There's a lot wrong with you as well.
Crazy, but that's how it goes. Millions of people living as hoes. Yeah, but maybe it's not too late to learn how to love and forget how to hate.
This is TalkSport Extra Time. We are the Two Mics. There will be a podcast out a little bit later on. Just follow us at the Two Mics, of course. Steve says, renaming the River Thames as the River Coca-Cola. Ha, ha, ha. Axel says, the Coca-Cola River, we would be ridiculed. And
Why?
Scottish
Why would we
Bull-
be ridiculed?
Well, you can't call the River Thames, which is a historic river
Yeah.
in the centre of one of the great cities of the world, and just call it the Coca-Cola River.
But
that's ridiculous.
Well, football stadia.
you might as well just call London something else.
well,
as
hang on. We
Why
used
don't you
to
just rename the city?
We used to have. Well, that'll happen one of these days. That'll happen.
What, London Coca-Cola?
Huge
Please.
corporations will sponsor. I mean, huge, computer corporations.
I'm not having it.
Will rename cities
No.
because they'll
Well, I won't be
employ
living
the
in one
majority
of
of
them.
people.
Well, I won't be living in
Well,
one of them.
hang on. There used to be a football stadium in North London
Yeah.
called Highbury.
Yes.
It is
I
now.
used to go there.
Exactly. It's now called the Emirates.
Yeah.
Different stadium,
It's a
obviously,
different stadium.
rebuilt, but it's not called Highbury and it's not called Arsenal Football Club Stadium. It's called the Emirates. So if you think it ain't going to happen, mate, you're short-sighted.
Well,
You
it's
don't have
one
any
thing.
vision, Mike.
No,
I have vision.
it's one thing.
I can see over the
All right, calm
Pyrenees,
down.
and I can see that this is going to happen.
What, with your binoculars?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, the
or
point
whatever.
is that, it's one thing to name a football stadium. It's another thing to name an entire river that goes
Why?
through some of
Why?
the most glorious parts of British countryside.
Expand your
and-
thinking.
Well, no, I'm not interested in that kind of commercialism. It's crass. It's guilt. It's gauche.
I'm not saying it's a
awful.
good thing, but I'm saying it's gonna
horrible.
happen.
Here's one from Scottish Bull who says, Porky's rantings are like that of a North Korean dictator.
What?
No street lights would lead to anarchy. Kevin says, sorry,
it
Mike
wouldn't.
Graham,
It would
but
stop
Mike Parry-
burglars.
But Mike Parry... Oh, don't be ridiculous.
It would stop burglars. That's
What,
one of the
'cause it's
reasons why I
dark?
suggest it. Yes, I'm telling you, all the figures show that where you reduce street lighting, you also reduce crime. That's the whole point of what I'm saying.
Really?
Yes.
And here's one from Kevin who says, I'm sorry, Mike, but Mike Parry is a complete idiot. Where I am, street lights are switched off between 12 and 5 a.m. Does he not realise or care about the danger?
What danger?
Well, I don't know. He hasn't expanded.
Exactly.
On it. And here's
Exactly.
One from,
There is no
here's one
danger.
from Scott, which is not his real name. On my motorbike, I had a hinge number plate that flipped up to reveal a dummy number plate. You didn't hear that from me. Hashtag true story. And somebody else actually has sent in a link.
Now, this is so interesting.
Now, I don't want to obviously reveal what the link is because it's illegal, and it's an American website where you can buy a license plate flipper, car number plate rotator for $350, and it says order now. The flipping mechanism is hidden behind a removable panel. The device provides installation of 2 car numbers. Upon pressing the button, the plate rotates 180 degrees, changing one number into another, taking 1.2 seconds.
There you go. See? And that is the James Bond style one,
Well,
isn't
it is the James Bond style,
Yeah.
but let's at the bottom of this, right, and it talks about how the Secret Service, this is great, what you love about America, right?
Go on.
Secret Service, the device can be installed on CIA, MI6, Mossad and other intelligence service vehicles, spelt incorrectly, but we didn't tell you this, right? Then it says, important note, attention, hiding or distortion of car numbers on public roads is a gross violation of law. Important, manufacturer and seller are not responsible for any use of you by the device presented above. It's a bit like a friend of mine had a radar jammer in his car.
Are
because
they
it's-
legal or illegal?
Well, they're illegal in this country, but in
Right.
certain states of America, you're allowed to use them.
Right.
But in other states, you're not. So it's a bit confusing over
Right.
there. Here, they're definitely not.
Right.
But this was a guy I knew in Scotland, and we would drive on the motorway sometimes, and he would see the mobile speed camera up on the top, and he would see the guy firing a gun out of it, and he would just switch his jammer on, and it would jam the signal, and they couldn't do him.
Right. Was this in the old days when you had policemen standing around with radar guns?
This was when you still have policemen standing around with radar guns. I saw one the other day.
I haven't seen one for years.
Really?
Where'd you see that?
Saw one down in Sussex.
Really?
Yeah.
I see the vans parked on the side of the
Yeah.
road.
Well, the
and-
vans
and-
quite
and-
often have a radar gun inside them.
Yeah.
There's just not a guy actually holding it.
Oh, I thought it was just a camera poking out the back of the van, which
No,
just
not
took
not
pictures
always.
of you as you
no,
go past.
Not always.
Oh.
No, it's quite often it's a radar gun.
Interesting.
Anyway, that's enough about the illegality of driving on the roads.
Yeah.
I would, as your friend,
Yes.
I would suggest that you don't get one of these
Well,
rotating
I'm
number plates.
not asking
I
anybody
don't
to
want you
break
to
the
be
law.
dragged off
I'm
in
not
handcuffs.
asking anybody to break the law. I'm saying that we have to have a very open mind about challenging the status quo if the status quo is so bad for the country, and to introduce even more measures to try and persecute motorists is, in my view, an aberration of the freedom and democracy of our country, which is being lost on a rapid rate.
Yeah.
Being lost at a very rapid rate.
I think
okay?
you're getting a bit carried away.
I'm not getting carried away.
Now,
I don't get carried away.
A couple of stories I need to talk to you about.
Right,
We haven't
go
got
on.
a great deal of time. The future of Japan apparently is in jeopardy.
It is.
Because they've given up sex. This is one of your stories.
Well, it's only something that I found out about when I was...
In Japan?
No.
You couldn't find anyone to have sex with you?
No. I was trying to keep up with the political nature of the Far East. 'Cause
Yes.
I like to be on the ball. You
Yeah,
know,
you do.
with things that are happening.
Well, I remember your fantastic description of Shogun
Yes.
when you were telling us about that
was
when
a
you did
disgrace.
Porky Vision,
It was a
saying
disgrace,
that
yeah.
they were Japanese-like people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But listen, what's happened is because Japan have gone.
That was one of the great reviews, by the way.
I thought it was.
One
yeah.
of the great things you've ever said. Well, there were no Americans back then.
What do
which
you mean?
was actually brilliant.
Well, no, there weren't. No,
It was actually brilliant.
Now, what I was going to say to you was because the Japanese economy has been suffering pretty badly over the last sort of couple of decades, to be honest. You know, from the post-war boom, you know, built on the back of the revival that they had to obviously get involved in after the Second World War.
Yeah.
It then went a bit flat in the sort of 80s, right?
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, mostly because other Far East countries started producing consumer goods cheaper than Japan.
Yeah.
You know, who did
Well,
not...
they've had a terrible time, haven't they? They
Yeah.
also had the big kind of housing crash and everything.
Housing
and
crash.
And the banking crash, sort of 10 years
Zero
before we
interest
did.
rates
Yeah.
and then into
They're still
deflation
not out of it,
and
are
all
they?
that stuff like that. But anyway, what's happened is this has so badly affected the morale of the country that, you know, I mean, how do I put this? The reason that Japan had the suicide pilots, you know, the kamikazes,
Yeah.
is because of a massive national pride in their country and belief, and they believed that their military commanders told them this was necessary,
Yeah.
so they did it without
questioning.
Thank you. Without questioning it, they did it. So it means what that indicates is that the Japanese male is an extremely proud individual. You know, proud of his culture, proud of his country, proud of what they are.
Yeah.
And because the country's sunk into such economic depths,
Yeah. It's a sort of national embarrassment, is what you're saying.
exactly, the morale and the standing and the stature of the individual Japanese man has also fallen to depths never seen before since
Yeah.
the Second World War.
Right.
This has resulted in low esteem amongst Japanese males
Yeah.
who are not having as much sex with Japanese females. The birth rate is the lowest it's ever been, and the country is going into massive decline.
Maybe they just don't want to have children because they're worried about the future.
Because of the lack of male confidence.
But it could be about the future as well, that maybe people are having less children because they're more concerned about the economy.
Yeah, listen to this. A survey in Japan has suggested the most basic answer of all for the problems the country's suffering. The country has collectively gone off sex. Half of Japanese and 45% of married people admit they'd not had sex in the previous month, in findings that have alarming implications for a country facing a long-term demographic crisis where population is going down.
Now, why is this worrying you?
Well, it worries me because...
Why?
Because when
This is Japan.
Yes, I know, but you see, you have no vision.
Judging by the number of people that cram themselves into their public transportation system, I think a drop in the population might actually be an advantage.
Yeah, I'll just listen to this for a minute. Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I can see you paid no attention to any of that.
I did.
Well, don't you agree with my point?
Well, yes, but you see, the problem is...
There's too many people in Japan.
No.
That's the problem.
No. The Japanese regarded overcrowded trains where they actually employed people on the stations who were big people to squash...
To shove them in, yeah.
To squash as many people into a train as possible, even if they suffocated. You know, it didn't matter. They couldn't care less.
Well, they didn't suffocate.
They pushed them in, right?
Yeah.
They pushed them in. Is because they regard overcrowding as a sign of great prosperity.
Yes, I know that.
And economic confidence. Right. Now, this says the survey...
They're trying the same thing here on the South Eastern Railways.
Yes, they are, yes.
By not putting enough carriages on and closing stations all over the place.
It's outrageous. It's outrageous. Right, the survey...
See the time, by the way.
Hang on a sec. Well, the survey by the Japan Family Planning Association attests the growing number of herbivorous males. These are Japanese herbivorous males.
Herbivorous? What does that mean?
These are men who disdain...
Herbivores? You mean people that only eat greens?
Hang on, I'm just out to explain. Men who disdain traditional pursuits, such as fast cars, successful careers, and multiple girlfriends. It's a loss of masculine confidence that mirrors the stagnation of the Japanese economy. Now, you said to me, why am I worried about Japan?
Yeah, why are you worried about it?
You don't understand. I know about the pebble in the pond effect.
Do you?
I do.
Really? Do tell.
You chuck a pebble in the pond...
Do you know about the time effect? Because we're running out of time.
A pebble in the pond, the ripples reach the very outside of the pond.
Yeah.
And such a crisis as this could cause a ripple which could reach every... I don't know why you're laughing.
Time for you to lie down.
Every corner of the earth.
Really?
Every corner of the earth. Right?
Maybe even Argyllshire.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. I'm not going to bend to your malicious little nasty jokes. You know.
Look into the light for a second, because we've got much more to talk about coming up next. We are the Two Mics.
But then you and I are not the same. You say you like the sun, I like the rain. So before we go do it all again, you better catch your own train.
This is Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the Two Mics. I see your tennis player star, Maria Sharapova's losing. She's losing 4-1 in the third set.
Golly, she's struggling, isn't she?
She is.
She looks very elegant, though.
She does look good, but she's not looking very happy either because her opponent
Well, blame
is
it.
about to win the game.
Can you come back from 4-1, I ask myself? Has she got the character? Has she got the strength of will, of power and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, or even the ability, because she's getting on a bit now, isn't she, for a tennis player?
Apparently she's worth $25 million.
I'm surprised it's not more than that.
Really? Yeah.
25 million a year she probably makes, isn't she?
I think you're probably right. I think that's probably right.
She's probably more like a couple of hundred million, I would imagine.
Yeah, probably.
Which you could be, actually, if some people were to be believed. By the way, the person who sent us that link on the revolving number plate, Paul the Cabbie, I don't know if you wanted me to read your name out. Peter in Liverpool says, Mike Graham, these are LED street lights we were talking about, the ones that are brighter, that can save 80% of the cost of street lighting, which costs £2 billion. Yeah, well, you say that, Peter, and it may well save the cost
what
of
about
street
replacing
lighting.
them?
But how much does it cost to actually replace them? And how much does it cost before you get the $2 billion back? Carl says on the text at 81089, what next? Wing mirrors on horses, referring back to one of your earlier ideas, of course. And here's one that I'm a bit loath to read out, actually, because it's from somebody who's clearly as deranged as you. Powie, the Bristol Gooner, says, Porky, why does your assistant constantly mock you? Your vision is amazing, and I agree with your thoughts. As for your singing, it was brilliant. Put me down as a band member. What an honour it would be.
Thank you. There you go, you see, Mike, it's not all negative, it's not all negative out there. A lot of it's so positive, but
It
you
is.
just can't get your head around it.
I'm told Sharapova's net worth is $90 million.
Oh, 90, there you go.
Yeah.
Somewhere
I told
between
you
the
that.
25 I
Now-
said and the hundreds of millions you said.
Well, I said it was probably more like 100 million.
Oh.
But anyway, the story on the front page of the Times this morning, I don't know
Yeah.
whether you've seen it.
I have, yeah.
It says, it's official, men really shouldn't be at the birth.
I know, yeah.
Now, this is saying that not only should men not be at the birth, which is something I've often wondered about,
Yeah.
because I was at the birth of all 4 of my kids, right? But scientists have done a study which actually says the pain of childbirth is exacerbated by having your partner there, if you're a woman.
Yeah.
When the partner isn't there, the pain is actually less, which is a weird story, isn't it?
It says about 95% of fathers are now present
Yeah.
when their child is born. According to, I mean, look, I can't really comment on this because I've never fathered children, so I've
No, of
never
course.
been. But when you say you were there at the birth of your children,
Yeah.
do you mean you were in the delivery room?
Yeah.
Or do you mean that you were sort of in the waiting room next door?
No, I was there. I was in the same room.
What, holding your wife's hand?
Yeah,
Or
something
the
like
mother
that.
of your
Something
children's
like that.
hand or something like
Yeah.
that?
Well, in fact,
And do you find this a very moving experience?
the first time it was a very moving experience when my first child was born.
Yeah.
That was in New York. It
was Emma.
And that was Emma, yeah.
And I came to see you and her about 2 days later.
Yes, you did. But let's not try not to make this story about you, shall we? Since I'm talking about the birth of my first child.
What I'm saying is...
Unbelievable.
What I'm saying is, I don't remember you dreamily, sort of gooey-eyed telling me, "This is the greatest moment of my life."
Well, there was no point in me
to
telling-
see my child being
Well,
born.
there's no point in me telling you that, is there? Because
Mike,
you're
it
a
was
man.
completely the opposite.
No, not true.
I met you in my hotel when I got in.
I wept when she was born
Well,
because it was such an emotional moment.
well, you must have got over it pretty quick, right? Because
Well, I got over it by the time I saw you, which was a couple of days later, yeah.
Well, hang on. You got over it to this extent. A couple of days later, I'd got in from Kennedy, right? I'd got a limo
Don't
in.
start telling another
Wait a minute, wait a
long-winded
minute.
story
No,
about you.
no,
I'm
no,
talking
no,
about
no.
men being at the child's birth.
I meet you in the lobby of the hotel. This is 2 days after your child's born, and you were tearful and emotional at the child's
What are you
birth.
talking about?
Then, instead of taking me home to see your newborn, you said
No.
there's a new snooker club round the corner. We went to the snooker club round the corner for about 5 hours.
No, not
got
true.
bladdered.
Not true.
It is true.
All right, well, let me
It
give
is
you a
true.
few- let me give you a few
It is
facts.
true.
Calm
And
down.
you couldn't be
Calm-
bothered going home. You wanted to
Calm
play
down.
snooker.
Look into
It was
the
an English
light.
snooker club.
Look into the light. For example, in America, as you say, you know nothing about childbirth, right?
I don't.
When your child is born in America, they're much more sort of clinical about it than they are here, and they insist that you stay in the hospital for a period of 3 to 4 days, even if it's not a caesarean birth. Okay, so it couldn't have been a couple of days after she was born because she was in the hospital with her mother for the best part of 4 or 5 days.
Rubbish.
Right?
No,
What do
couldn't
you
have
mean
been.
rubbish?
Couldn't have been.
You'd like me to provide you with the bill that I was given to pay for it?
Well, I hope you paid it.
Of course I did.
You just drew it up and
Because
threw it
I
in the
had,
East River.
well, that was one of the things. They had,
Yeah.
they had a Blue Cross, I had a Blue Cross Blue Shield medical insurance, which I had to pay for myself because, of course, I was freelance.
Yes.
Right? And that cost about $10,000 a year.
Yeah.
But that didn't cover a private room in the hospital, so I had to
My
pay extra
God.
for that.
My
and that
God.
was about $250 a night, I think.
Oh,
at that time.
You're joking.
I'm not joking.
It's usually about $250 an hour.
Yeah, well,
in America.
I mean, it was another few thousand quid anyway by the time it was all done and dusted. But anyway, I mean, you've told that story at the live show before, and it's slightly, as usual with most of your stories about you and I, it's slightly bends
Did we
the
or did
truth.
we not go to a snooker club that
Yeah.
afternoon before we went home?
Yeah, but it wasn't
we
2
did.
days after
Yeah.
she was born.
Well, you told me it was a couple of days.
Well, you may have remembered that because your memory is, of course, not what it used to be.
Oh,
anyway,
really? Yeah.
My point about
Yours is
this,
so selective.
My point about this story is not about how much time
It's
we
like
spent
your
together.
memory's like one of those grab machines, when you put money in and a little grabber goes around to get a furry toy. That's what your
Do you
memory's
play
like.
those machines?
No, of course I don't play those machines.
How do you know you put money in
Ridiculous.
them?
Well, I see children doing it, don't
you?
I, in places
Oh,
I
really?
go. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't let my children put money in those machines.
No, well,
it's a waste of money.
well, there's one place I go to, which is a sort of country club type bar, and they've got one in the lobby, and you see all the little kids doing it with their parents putting the money in.
They've got
yeah?
one in the lobby of what?
of the country club I go to.
You've got a country club that has one of those horrible rip-off machines in the front.
Yeah.
What, like an amusement arcade?
Yeah,
So it's not much of a country club, then, is it?
Well, it is. Yeah, it is. It's got a few fruit machines around. People like putting in, win £100 and all that.
Sounds very vulgar.
Yeah. No, not at all.
Now, this is the kind of thing you've set off here. Look, Charlton Kev has texted into 1889. He says, thanks, I'm off to Japan to help those poor sex-starved Japanese ladies.
Right, yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, by the way, very good of our producer to explain to us what herbivorous means when referring to a man.
Oh, what does it mean?
Well, you were telling me it means... It's
I didn't know. I was asking you if it meant
it's an insult.
they only eat greens.
It attests to the growing number of herbivorous males. Now, according to David, our producer, it means that you've been accused of being a grass muncher, which means you're a weakling, you're a half-bake, you're a nothing, you're a glass of water of a man. It's a terrible, terrible insult to the masculinity of the Japanese man.
Yes.
And so don't ever go to Japan and accuse anybody there of being a grass eater, because if you do, you'll end up with a glass of sake stuffed down your throat.
Have you ever been to Japan?
Do you know what happened?
Well, no, I've just asked you a question.
Right.
I don't know what happened because you haven't answered it.
The QE2 was there, right?
Yeah.
And I got offered this trip to go out there.
Freebie.
Yeah, freebie.
There's no harm in saying the word.
Freebie, to come back on the QE2.
Right, what you mean from the World Cup?
No. It was years ago when I was a young reporter on the Daily Express, before I became the big boss on the Daily Express.
Oh, yeah.
I worked my way up the greasy
The
pole.
news editor.
Yeah, before I was the news editor. And I said, this is great, and I've been to Japan. I'd like to see the Orient at its best, And then, believe it or not...
The Orient?
The Orient, yeah.
What, you mean Leighton Orient?
No, you idiot. Japan's in the
right.
Orient.
Okay.
And then, believe it or not, my younger sister rang me up, and she was so excited. She said, "Oh, hi, Mike, how are you?" I said, "Got some great news for you." I said, "What's that?" She said, "Oh, I've got engaged." I said, "Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, well done." And I wasn't quite sure what engaged meant,
Right.
Thought it meant she was just seeing some chap,
Right. He
And,
bought her a ring.
hey?
He must have bought her a ring.
Oh, well, I presume so. I don't know. I wasn't
What do you
quite
mean you
sure.
didn't know what being engaged was all about?
I didn't know it meant formally we are now proposing to get married. You see what I mean?
So they wouldn't have wanted to send you on any royal tours then, would they? If you didn't know what getting engaged was all about.
Well, maybe not. But anyway, the point of the story is...
What is the point of the story?
They were going to get it sorted very quickly, indeed, and within a matter of months.
Yeah.
And it fell on the day of my trip to Japan.
No.
So I had to call it off because, unfortunately, my dad had died a year or two earlier, very sadly, so I had to give my sister away in the wedding. So the answer is I didn't go to Japan because I selflessly gave up my trip to Japan.
How selflessly was that? Anthony, what an amazingly sort of selfless
give my sister
man you are.
away, in her marriage. How about that?
So you gave a free holiday up,
Yeah.
which would have cost you nothing.
Yes.
In order to go and do the decent thing.
Yes.
And act as though you were the head man of the family.
Well, I was head man of the family.
Well, why wouldn't you do that? You shouldn't get any extra credit for that.
Well, I thought it was pretty decent
Do
of
you
me.
remind her of that every time it's her wedding anniversary?
No, I don't. No,
sure?
no, that would be rather unkind.
Are you sure?
I don't
never comes up?
I don't want it to have it on a conscience. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't,
So you never mentioned that I could have gone to
No,
Japan if
no,
you'd
no.
only got married a couple of weeks later.
No, I don't. I've never said that to her. No, that would
Did
be.
you not go out there for
be
the World Cup? then,
Mean
when
and
it was
miserable.
in, like South Korea and Japan.
No, I was in charge of things then at wherever I was working.
Where were you then?
Daily Express, I think.
Were you?
Yeah, it was definitely. Paul
What year was
Thompson
it?
went out there for us. Remember Paul Thompson?
remember him,
Ended
yeah.
up in Miami.
He is in Miami now.
And I think still in Miami. He went out there for us. I was in charge of a
What year
massive
was that
team. That was 92, wasn't it?
92? No.
Japan
It
and
was later
South
than that.
Korea was
2002.
beg your pardon. It was France was 98.
Yeah.
It was 2002.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, of course.
You
it
weren't at
was,
the
yeah.
Express then. You must have been here.
Hang on, 2002.
You see, this is the thing.
Oh,
You
hang
remember-
on, hang on,
You
hang on,
remember
hang on.
very, very well.
Yeah, hang on.
One bizarre afternoon
Right.
in mid-90s when my daughter was born.
I know
But
when
you don't
Paul-
remember what you did for
Paul
the 2002
Thompson
World Cup.
was at the South Korea Olympics, and that was in about 88 or something like that,
Yeah.
right? The one
That
you're
was the
talking
Ben
about.
Johnson,
One talking about, I was at
Olympics.
TalkSport, and Don McGuinness was our man out in Japan, South Korea.
Okay.
Well, one of our men,
Yeah.
He was our own
So you
reporter.
were you based here then for that?
Of course I was. I was controlling the team, mate. You know what I mean? Somebody's got to pull the levers,
All right.
press the buttons.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't want to hop out there.
Whistle
and,
the whistles.
Yeah, but and hop out there and. sort of-
I'm not one of these sort of bosses, Mike, who thinks,
Yeah,
I tell
you
you
are.
what, I'll get on the plane and
Of course
go
you
out
are.
and just, glad hand everybody,
Yeah, of course you are.
press the flesh.
Really?
And basically get drunk for a week,
Yeah.
and pretend
You're
to
not
be
one
in
of those
charge.
bosses?
I'm not one of them sort of bosses, no.
You never did that at the Daily Express.
No.
Really?
No.
You never got the free holidays before anybody else.
Well, I
You
used
never
to...
asked to look at the list.
Look...
When the free holidays came in, everybody
Yes.
knows how it used to work. It used to go to the heads of department, and then they would decide
Well-
if anyone could go on those holidays,
Yeah.
if they'd been deserving of some kind of, reward. And if you
Yeah.
were a slightly unscrupulous departmental head,
Yeah.
which I've been led to believe you may have been,
I think that's right.
you would snare the best ones
Well,
for yourself.
It was a very stressful job, and one thing I was warned about by the editor, the boss of the
Yeah.
was not to get
He was never very
overstressed.
stressed out, was he?
No, he's never very stressed out at all. No, he was always out playing golf.
Yeah.
Was not to get overstressed
Yeah.
and to take regular
Freebies.
Well, no, regular facility trips to
Yes.
make sure that I didn't get too mentally. The best one was this. Honestly, the best one was this. We had a motoring editor,
Yeah.
right, who was basically a drunk. And so,
Well, he was basically he was an enabler for you to get a decent car.
I was about to say he had to test drive a couple.
He was close friends with the chairman, was he not?
He was close friends with the chairman, but he had to test drive 2 cars a week.
Yeah.
The problem was
Mostly he was incapable.
He was always incapable, and quite rightly decided that, you know, as a motoring editor, it wouldn't be a good idea to get banned for drunk driving.
No, that wouldn't be good.
So he used to come to me and say, "Would you like to borrow this Porsche this weekend?"
Yeah.
And I said, "I'll do that. Would you like to borrow this Jaguar? You know, would you like to borrow it?" And all I had to do when I came back on Monday morning was talk to him for 5 minutes and then go off and write the
And he'd write the piece,
the piece about test driving the cars.
This is what I mean. I went into journalism for some kind of, higher purpose,
Sure.
and you just went into it for the free
Do you know,
cars
on
and the
one
free
weekend,
holidays.
On one weekend, he let me 2 Porsches. He let me a 911, and the registration plate was A911.
Right.
They bought the plates,
Yeah.
much in the same way as I bought my plates, right? That was a 911, and the other one was like a Carrera or something like that.
Yeah.
But they brought in 2, and we couldn't leave them in the downstairs garage because it was indicative of the fact they weren't being road tested. So they're both taken to my house.
Blimey.
Yeah, 2 Porsches for the weekend.
Shocking.
Amazing.
Absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
You must miss all that free stuff.
Well, it wasn't free. It was part of the job.
Free.
It's part of
I
the
think
job.
you're fine. Did
Part
you
of
pay
the
any money for it?
It was part
Was
of
it
the.
taxed as a benefit?
It was part of
Was
the.
it taxed as a benefit?
It was part of the fabric
More
of my
importantly.
office,
Yeah,
of my
really?
position.
I see.
Yes.
Okay. He's Mike Parry, of course. I'm Mike Graham. There will be a 2 Mike's podcast coming out a little bit later on. Mike Parry's now here 4 nights a week, so he'll be back tomorrow morning at 2 o'clock. And tomorrow it's Porky Vision time. And so I want you to get
Great.
I want you to get your eyes set on Wolf Hall,
Yeah.
which starts later on tonight.
And Broadchurch, which is coming in for a lot of criticism.
Yeah,
believe
well,
me.
I haven't seen the 3rd one yet.
Well,
so,
you know, yeah.
Don't
And,
give anything away.
But before then, I will be reading between the lines on the Brazil Breakfast Show.
Oh, of course, yeah, you've got more work to do between now and then. You got any other plans for the rest of the day? You know, any more kind of broadcast outlets that you're going to be sharing your great ideas with?
Well, I'll talk to my secretary and see what's going on.
Excellent stuff. Hope you're going to get some sleep soon, otherwise I feel you're starting to go a bit mad.
I will jump off the end of Bournemouth Pier dressed as a duck, and I will have a winged costume on and try and take flight.